He's in Dubai, and the event, of course, happening in nearby Abu Dhabi. 2:30, we'll check in with the guys. Parlay Pals.
Welcome.
My bad. I screwed this one up. I don't know why I went with Michaela Mayer. Listen, I know why. When I said it, I was confident, and you could make the case that she won that fight against Alicia Baumgartner, but there were a lot more sure things. Deontay Wilder being one of them, wins in the first round. My guy Brito, wins rather convincingly as well. I don't know. I don't know why I went with that one. I guess the noise got to me. I'm sorry. People were saying you're taking the minus 800s, and I need to go back to just get the dub. Just win, baby. Like the great Al Davis once said, I don't know why I went with the hard one. And by the way, as fight week got closer and as the fight got closer, she became an even bigger favorite. And so I was feeling good about it, but I was sweating it. It was, great fight. Expected a little more activity. Great card. The Shields fight against Savannah Marshall was amazing. But I was bummed. It ruined my Saturday night. Has it happened where I was the reason why the Parlay Pals lost? I was the sole reason. I know I've lost some.
I think this is the first time.
I think this was the first time it was all on me, and I felt very guilty. And I actually thought about pulling out of the whole thing. I just like, what do I need this for?
Don't do that.
Let's just take my ball and go home. I don't need this type of heartache. But
doesn't feel so good though, does it?
No.
All right, just keep that in mind the next time you're.
Wait a second. I feel like you're trying to imply that I rub it in.
Ruthless.
Am I?
Oh yeah.
That's not fair.
Especially the night of. It's like.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I hardly even know who we picked the night of. I have to have who are we rooting for again?
Connor or Rick mess up, and the other one's like, hey, we trek on.
Yeah, no, everyone's.
Frank
Me?
does it, and it's like. Psh,
Is that true? Is this the thing you guys are saying?
this is how it feels.
Is this true, GC? Am I bad? Am I the weak link?
Of the Parlay Pals?
Yeah.
No.
So what's he saying?
Do you rub it in a little more on Frank? Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
Wow, really?
A little ruthless on the guy.
On Frank?
Not gonna be able to afford dinner.
Is this the thing that you guys talk about when you're out watching the Bills? How about them Bills, huh? How about them boys from
those
Buffalo?
Bills?
How
Wow,
about them
I
boys
hyped
from
up
Buffalo?
yesterday.
Oh, I'm still tired. If my energy level is a little low off the bat here, it's because I'm still tired from what transpired Sunday evening in old Kansas City, Missouri. By the way, I hear from a lot of Kansas City guys. I hear from Anthony Smith, Julian Marquez before the games. I don't really hear from them after the games, but that's okay. It's regular season. It's okay. Anyway, I'm sorry, Frank. I won't do it again.
Accept.
I won't do it again, but
hopefully it doesn't happen again.
well, listen, I'm not going to make this a habit. I don't like being the weak link. I'm not the weak link in anything I do in life because I try to play to my strengths. And here on Saturday, I was the weak link. I was watching the fight while I was at my kid's soccer game. It was a late afternoon affair, and I was looking at all the parents. I was like, if these people only knew what I was watching right now on my phone. I was doing the, one AirPod in, hood over my hat, so you think I'm not, you think I'm locked in, and I was locked in, but I was also locked in on, Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgartner. In any event, we'll talk about all of that, recap GC's weekend as well, maybe a little look ahead to this weekend, which is a tough one to call. A lot of good fights. At 2 o'clock, my old pal Javier Mendez, the old head coach from American Kickboxing Academy. Been a while since I last spoke to him, of course. Coach for one Islam Makhachev. He is in Abu Dhabi. He is getting ready for the big title fight. No stranger to title fights. Was there by DC's side throughout his entire illustrious career. Was there by Luke Rockhold's side throughout his entire illustrious career. Was there by Cain Velasquez's side throughout his entire illustrious career. Was there by Khabib Nurmagomedov's side and throughout his illustrious career. And not to mention the likes of Mike Swick and Josh Koscheck back in the day and so many others. He has seen it all. He has done it all. He has coached them all. And he's back for another big title fight this Saturday in the UAE. And I'm looking forward to talking to him as my pencil falls about the big title fight against Charles Oliveira. 1:30, John Hathaway is going to join us. He had a big win. His first win, guys, in 10 years. His first win since September of 2012. On that card in England, a young man named Stefan Struve knocked out a young man named Stipe Miocic. That's how long ago it was since he last had a victory. September of 2012, of course, had not fought since March of 2014. The loss to one Dong Young Kim but it was September 29, 2012 since his last win. He comes back. We had him on a couple weeks ago. Has been through a lot, physically, emotionally, but had a nice dominant win over Andre Ricardo at Octagon 36 in Frankfurt, Germany. So all that to come. But first, a few words on this coming weekend, if I may, and it actually relates to this past weekend as well. You know, I was thinking, I was talking to someone about the Apex cards, and I have to tell you, and you know, I hope I'm not oversharing here, but it just feels like each and every time we are subjected to these Apex cards, and it's not necessarily because of the action. The action is the same. The action is, you know, you put these fights at the Apex, you put them in Austin, you put them in some random, you know, Paris, you put them in a fight night city, and the fights are the fights. And this is not taking anything away from the fighters. I do think, by the way, there's no doubt you are getting more spirited, San Diego spirited, inspired performances when the crowds are there, they're hyped, the product is hyped, the product is super hot right now. People are getting behind the UFC, and so you're seeing better performances, I think, more, I don't know, I guess spirit is the best word, performances when they're outside of the Apex. But I was thinking, like, why does this bother you so much, and why do you feel soulless when you are subjected to these events? I mean, part of me feels like it's taking us back to 2020, like 2022, 2021, all that stuff, like when things were super, super dark, grim, depressing, and it's the lone reminder left in sports. No one else is doing events at, you know, a closed venue inside some sort of sound stage, whatever you want to call it. No, I mean, you turn on college football, there's 100,000 people. You turn on the NFL, there's 60,000 people. You turn on the baseball playoffs, there's 50,000 people. You turn on the NHL, the NBA, it's packed arenas all over the place. You turn on boxing, it's packed. You turn on pro wrestling, it's packed. Everything is packed. The lone empty arena vibe, if you will. I know there's like 100 people there or whatever, but the lone vibe left in sports. How ironic is it that the lone vibe left is for the product that was back first? Now, I'm not here to talk about why. We all know why. They're saving money. They're making money. We all know why. But I'm not even here to talk about that. When I watched those events, I was thinking, like, why does this bother me so much? A, this is not why we fell in love with the UFC. This is not why we fell in love with MMA. We fall in love because of the pageantry, the showmanship, the events, the lights, the glitz. If you don't need that stuff, if that stuff does nothing for you, if that stuff doesn't make your experience better, then God bless you. And I'm actually envious of you. If you don't need that, if you don't need the environment, if it doesn't make you a little more hyped, great. You're better than I watched that Bills game yesterday. It's so much more fun because they're at, you know, the Chiefs Stadium. I think they changed their name. I was going to say Arrowhead. It's like GHAE or something. You get the point. The crowd in every sporting event, whether it's Man City, Liverpool, what a game that was. Bills, Chiefs, what a game that was. Tennessee, Alabama, Knicks, Bull. It doesn't matter. The crowd always helps, regardless of what side you're on. Shields against Marshall, Deontay Wilder against Helenia. It doesn't matter. And so if you don't need that, great. I need that. And I used to watch late at night. I had a TV in my room when I was in high school, and I used to watch ESPN2 kickboxing. And I even think Scott Coker was involved in these events. And I used to think when I would watch these events, like, who's watching this? And B, who's invested in this? And part of the problem with kickboxing, I think, throughout its time here in America was, like, we've never had a reason to be emotionally invested in these fighters, in these fights, in these events. Everyone looks the same. All the events look the same. There's hardly any people at these events. It all feels very uniform. It all feels very interchangeable. It's impossible to turn on and be like, oh, that dude's fighting? I know that guy. That's so-and-so. No, they all look the same. They're all wearing the same pants. They have the same kind of look. The events all look the same. And I was thinking, like, I used to think this all the time. I used to think, how could people get into this? It all looks the same. It all feels the same each and every time I turn it on. Late night WKA kickboxing. This is part of the problem. No one's been able to market the sport correctly. And when I watch these Apex events, I get the same feeling. Unless you're betting on it, or unless you're a friend or family, why are you tuning into this right now? On a Saturday night, when you have college football, when you've got baseball playoffs, and you've got all kinds of things, you know, starting this week, you'll have the NHL, the NBA as well. What is the incentive to watch this? It doesn't feel hype. It doesn't feel big. It doesn't feel glamorous. It doesn't feel larger than life. It feels like 1997 kickboxing on ESPN2. Everyone's dressed the same. Everyone looks the same. It all feels very interchangeable. And this is a bummer. I didn't get into MMA. I didn't fall in love with MMA because everything looked the same. It all felt special. Of course, back in the day, there were only like 4 or 5 events, and then it grew to 12 or so, the 20-something or so, the 40. And there's something to be said for too much of a good thing ain't a good thing. But still, we were able to stomach it because there were, they were going from Austin to Charlotte to Philly to Boston to San Diego to LA to Las Vegas. It was always a big crowd, an excited crowd, at least for the last 10 or so years, whether it was overseas, Brazil, etc. It's not feeling that way, and the sooner they can get out of it, I think right now they're making money. I think they're hurting the product long term by staying at the apex. Right now, it's great, and they're cashing in those checks, and ESPN doesn't seem to mind. But in the future, it will hurt them because I think the product will go down and will suffer because of this sort of, I don't know, lazy mentality of just staying at the apex. I don't get it. Nevertheless, my point is, so I'm going to start at a negative and I'm going to end at a positive here. Do not worry. For as uninspired and as sort of missing some sort of ingredient or two these apex events are, the lone positive is that it makes events like this Saturdays feel that much bigger and that much more important, and it gets us that much more hype because we have had to sit, my friends, let's be honest, through some clunkers over the past month or so, some uninspired cards which were lacking in depth, and I'm being kind. You sit through those because you like the fighters, you like the sport, whatever, you're betting on it, I don't know. And then you get to this side of the bridge and you get to UFC 280. And when the UFC wants to put on a big-time event, they can put on a big-time event, and no one puts on a big-time event like them in the world of MMA right now, and it ain't even close. PFL could put on as many pay-per-views as they want. Bellator could put on their most stacked card. Nothing will compare to 280. Nothing in the sport can compare to 280. 280 is probably, right now, as far as a 5-pack of fights, I would say, no recency bias, pay-per-view-wise, probably the best offering that the UFC has given us this year. As far as a 5-pack of fights, there have been cards, get Ngannou gone and Figueiredo Moraes. There have been cards that have had 2, 3 great fights. To me, there's 5 great fights on this card. And so you sit through those uninspired, shallow Apex events, and then all of a sudden, as opposed to back in the day when there was banger after banger after banger, here it's like, all right, it's like a single, a bunt, a foul ball, and then you get to the home run. And the home run feels bigger, as opposed to an inning where you're spraying hits all over the field. And so this feels bigger. I am hyped for 280. It feels important. It feels like the stakes are massive. And you know what's great about it? I would make a strong argument right now that the 3 best divisions in the UFC are 135, 155, 170. Those are the most interesting, the most stacked, the deepest divisions in the UFC. And what makes this card so damn great is that those are the 3 main divisions featured at the top of the bill. 135. Wow. I think it's the best division in the UFC. I think it's the most open division in the UFC. And you've got Aljamain Sterling, the champion of the 135-pound division, defending against TJ Dillashaw, and all the baggage that he brings along with him. His last clear-cut dominant win, 2018, August of 2018, against one Cody Garbrandt. That's how long it has been. Of course, loses to Cejudo, has the 2-year suspension, undergoes multiple surgeries, comes back, close fight against Sandhagen, hasn't fought since then, hasn't been seen since then in a cage, and now he gets a title shot against Aljo, polarizing, on his worst day. And even this weekend, going back and forth with the Andrew Tate stuff, oh my God, giving me a headache. Listen, this is a big-time fight, and Sterling's on quite the roll, and he's shutting up a lot of naysayers as far as his fighting is concerned. That was a big-time performance over Peter Yan. What's so great about this might not even be the most intriguing 135-pound fight. You could make a very strong case that the Petr Yan versus Sugar Sean O'Malley fight is even more intriguing than the title fight. That's how good this card is. So here you have Petr Yan, perennial contender, former champion, all this stuff against, this mega star who's about to break through if he can win this fight and really become a big star. We all know about Sugar Sean. I don't need to tell you the story. That's on the card as well. So right now you've got the end of the Grand Prix, you've got the championship fight, and then you've got this potential number one contender fight, right? And there's a scenario where if Dillashaw wins and Jan wins, maybe they're fighting for the belt. I can't see them doing Jan Aljo 3 right off the bat, but crazier things have happened. So that's on the card. And those aren't the mains. Main, of course, 11 wins in a row, Charles Oliveira. Who could have saw this coming? He loses to Paul Felder some 4 years ago, now goes on an incredible run. And I'm not comfortable with saying if he wins this fight, he's the GOAT. But holy crap, who has had a run like this in arguably one of the best divisions, if not the best division in the UFC, against this type of talent? Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler, Ferguson, Lee, Jared Gordon, Nick Lentz, David Tamor, Jim Miller, Christos Giagos, Clay Guida. The first couple guys that I mentioned, the first 5 or so, all on fire, all in their prime, all super tough outs, all except for Tony. He finishes in his 11-fight winning streak. 10 of them are via finish. Now he's become a star. Now anything he posts on social media explodes. 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 15,000 likes. Wow. Who saw this coming from Charles Oliveira, who started his UFC career a 500 fighter? He was just a 500 pedestrian fighter. Now he's become one of the biggest stars in the world, certainly one of the biggest stars out of Brazil, certainly one of the biggest stars in the UFC. So he's not defending his belt. He's fighting for the vacant title because he was, you know, he was stripped. We know about what happened in May prior to the Gaethje fight. I would actually strongly argue that whole situation made him into a bigger star. It made him somewhat sympathetic, even though he was already a sympathetic figure, considering where he's been, where he's come from, what he's had to overcome. But this, I think, added to that. And I really think he's become an even bigger star as a result. Obviously, he didn't want that, but there was a silver lining, no doubt about it. Just look at the numbers. Just look on YouTube. Just look at the way people speak of him. They love this guy. And amazing, very rare that someone who doesn't speak English is able to connect with the audience here in America. It has worked for him. He doesn't need it. Very few guys, you know, Anderson, Jose Aldo, you could probably count on less than, 5 fingers, the guys who have been able to break through. Even Khabib needed to start speaking a little bit to connect. Junior Dos Santos needed to speak a little bit to connect. Anderson never really needed it, although you can make the case that he probably would have been even more popular had he spoke English earlier. Same with Aldo. Charles, you never hear him speak English, and the people love him, and they connect with him, and they're by his side. And then on the flip side, you have Islam Makhachev, the protege of Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's on his own winning streak, 10 in a row, has never fought anyone close to Charles, but it sort of feels like UFC 223, where it's like, all right, this is the coronation. This is the moment where the baton gets passed off, and he's able to, live up to his expectations, fulfill his destiny as champ, and kind of take that, mantle from Khabib and go on this long run. Fascinating style matchup, 11 wins in a row versus 10, grappler versus jiu-jitsu specialist. Do they stay standing? How does Makhachev look in his first pay-per-view main event? How does Oliveira look? Does he get roughed up again? He's been taking some shots, even though he's able to rebound. I mean, what's better than this? Oh, by the way, also on the card, also at 55, Beneil Dariush, who was supposed to fight Makhachev, who has some sort of argument, I think, in his back pocket to be the number one contender if he wins against Mateusz Gamrot, former KSW lightweight and featherweight champion. This is, who has a huge win over Arman Tsarukyan, probably Islam's best win. These two guys battling to try to become the next number one contender. And you have the cloud that is Alexander Volkanovski just chilling over Abu Dhabi. If someone stumbles, if someone misses weight, you've got the number one pound for pound fighter in the world just chilling, waiting to be tagged in. That's never happened. We've had backup fighters before. We've never had a number one pound for pound fighter put his ego to the side and say, yeah, I'll fly over there. I'll make weight. Oh, by the way, I just had surgery. I just had my cast removed. No problem. If any of these guys stumbles, I'll fight him on 24 hours notice, and then I'll defend, the 55 or 45 belt in Perth in February. That adds intrigue to the week as well. A lot of pressure on these two guys. You miss weight, you stumble, you miscalculate. Freaking Volk, the ultimate professional, guy who never misses, never stumbles, never screws up, is right there waiting like the boogeyman, eyes on you, waiting for you to mess up. So you have that whole situation. And oh, by the way, it's not the fifth fight on the pay-per-view, but to me, the fifth most intriguing fight, it's the headliner of the prelims. It's Bilal Muhammad against Sean Brady, who I think is a future title contender. 15-0, has looked incredible, haven't seen him in a year, has stayed active with grappling against Bilal, who's enjoyed a great run as of late, has the controversial fight against Leon Edwards, the eye poke, so he's a part of his narrative. He wins this fight, all of a sudden he's in that conversation for the belt as well. Brady wins this fight, I think he's maybe 2 away. I mean, people aren't signing up to fight Sean Brady right now. So you have those fights, 5 of those. You got a Muhammad Mokaev on the prelims. You got a Manot Fiorot on the main card as well. But you talk about 5 fights with stakes, with implications. 2 title fights, top contender fights, rising stars. I mean, big stakes for Sean O'Malley, big stakes for Sean Brady, big gambles. So again, my point at the beginning was to say, as lifeless as those Apex cards feel, and I got to say, each and every week, they are harder and harder to watch. If you have no skin in the game, they are harder and harder to watch, and I don't blame anyone who says I'm going to skip it. And I think eventually that is going to hurt the product. They're not going to worry about it now, but down the line, you got to get out of there. I'm telling you, this is me looking out for my brothers in Las Vegas. You got to get out of there. It's not helping the product. This is not why people fall in love with sports. It's working now. You're cashing in those checks. You're not paying to go on the road. You're not paying for travel. Trust me, it will hurt you in the long run. I'm trying to help out. I'm trying. This is me giving you free. Doesn't matter. Those events right now, as annoying as they are, as uninteresting as they are, makes these Saturdays so great. Makes these Saturdays so special, and reminds us why we love this so much. Big, important, massive implications. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. And oh, by the way, it's an afternoon affair here in America. It's a primetime affair. Everyone's happy, right? It's a primetime affair in the UK. It's a pretty good time slot for most. I think in Australia, they probably don't love it. They've got the great Sunday morning time slot, which is fantastic for them. But for us here, it's a 2 to 5 p.m. main card. And you look at the odds, like, I don't know. GC, have you made your picks yet for this officially?
Yeah, I've got quite a few in.
It's a lot of toss-ups.
I mean, we were literally just behind the scenes talking about Dariush Gamrot and how much of a toss-up I think that is.
I could see either scenario right now. Gamrot minus 190, Dariush plus 160. Gamrot's the favorite. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Is Dariush, like, I mean, he's still on a huge win
He's so
streak
underrated.
right now. Like, he's only 33. This typically with pay-per-view cards, you get a lot of those easy ones. You get a lot of the toss-ups. Like, I feel like this card, there's not so many.
Jan O'Malley, I don't think is a sure thing.
I think a lot of people are starting to put money on O'Malley. There was a time where you couldn't get Jan for better than like minus 375. Now you can get him for as good as like minus 275. A lot of money coming in on Sean.
Charles Islam,
Oh my God! Don't even get me
I
started.
see every scenario. I see sub, knockout, decision for like those 3 scenarios for both guys.
If you tell me you know what's going to happen, you're either a fortune teller or you're a liar. Because I have no idea what is going to happen in that fight. I cannot wait for it.
Brady only a minus 145 against Bilal, kind of surprising to me as well. I thought he'd be a bigger favorite.
I don't know. Bilal just keeps on winning, man.
Who's the biggest? And even Aljo and TJ minus 170 plus 145. I could see TJ turning back the clock.
Absolutely could.
Aljo minus 170.
Those last 6 fights of the night are going to be crazy. I mean,
You're including the
Fiorot.
Chookagian? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
mean,
Take the over.
that could be your pick for this week.
I know. I need to do. I should have taken. Did anyone take the over for Grasso?
No. I mean, I took it in my picks. Grasso by decision, no big deal. But
Yeah. Man, what a card. UFC 280. I'm hyped. I'm excited. All right, we've got a lot to discuss. That's my little preamble to start the show. Hopefully, got you a little excited for what's to come. And obviously, we're going to talk a lot more about it later on in the show. And of course, on Wednesday as well, 2 shows, back to 2 shows this week. Next week will be a little different, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. And like I said, Jan to come Javier Mendez to come, Yuri to come. But first, I want to go back to something I spoke of at the beginning of the show. One of the great stories from this past weekend in MMA, and there weren't a ton, but there was one fantastic one, and it was John Hathaway's return. At Octagon 36 in Frankfurt, Germany, he gets the big decision win. You'll recall a couple of weeks ago we spoke about everything he's had to overcome internally, physically, to get back to this point. Picks up his first win since September of 2012. He's very excited about that and really wanted to talk to him about the whole experience. Without further ado, let us say hello to John Hathaway. There he is. Hello, John. How are you?
Hey guys, I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me on again.
Oh, it's a pleasure and congratulations. It has been a while since you were celebrating a victory on a Monday after a weekend. Could you even put into words what it felt like to get your hand raised after all these years?
It felt great, you know, the whole, just the whole thing, the entrance, everything, just the week building up to it. It was just kind of great to just be back in the mix and the feel of it, and obviously something that, you know, I haven't felt for God, 9 years now. It's probably been so. It was just a really enjoyable experience.
Would you say there was a time probably where you thought you'd never get that experience again, right? You like this is a gift.
Oh, most certainly, definitely a gift. I mean, I was always hoping for it and stuff like that, but there's definitely there was a good chance that it was just never going to happen and stuff. But and, you know, I know my wife as well in the week building up when I was actually already over there. She called up the surgeon and just left a message with him being like, you know, just thank you so much for getting us back basically to this point, to being able to compete. So.
Did he reply?
Welcome.
He hasn't yet, so he's probably quite a busy guy, Mr. Clark. But I mean, you know, as I said, he was just always one of those surgeons where, like, he could just feel your confidence. You know, he's one of them guys who can tell you it's dark outside when it's light, and you'll just be like, oh, okay, like, you know, it's dark outside, so it's going to be good. So, yeah, he managed to get me back to this point. So, yeah, I'm just super happy, and obviously the team and everything's kind of done right for us.
That's amazing. Now, we spoke about, you know, this is your first time in a very long time, or was your first time fighting outside the UFC. Here you are with this new promotion, Octagon, which I keep hearing such great things about in terms of the shows they put on, the crowds, etc. What was the experience like with them, the whole fight week and then the event itself? What did you make of the experience?
Absolutely great experience. Again, it was a very well-run show. I got to go to the festival, like in Frankfurt, and it was just an incredible venue. Obviously, a slightly almost different venue where it was like almost I think it's mainly made used for kind of like singing kind of concerts and stuff like that, but the hall was just amazing, you know, an older kind of like beautiful architecture from the outside, and we managed to get there the day before as well and kind of see the internal parts of it as well. But, you know, great show, great venue. It was packed, it was fully sold out, so especially for the last couple of fights where I managed to get out and watch them outside of kind of the change rooms area, with just a great atmosphere out there.
And in terms of how they treated you, like from a professionalism standpoint, what was it like?
Yeah, treated me actually great. Again, I got out there on Thursday. I think was kind of good. Again, did a little weight cut Friday morning, weighed in fine, and weigh-ins were all nicely done. The whole day was nicely done. So I had kind of like a little bit of filming, kind of camera work to do the photo shoots and stuff, which is kind of normal for any show. And yeah, just a very well-run show. Great guys at the Octagon show.
By the way, speaking of the weight cut, I mean, I saw you appear to be in phenomenal shape. You've always been in phenomenal shape, but it's been a while since you had a proper weight cut like that. What was it like? How did the body handle it?
I mean, I guess that was going into the big unknown. You know, I mean, not having a large power on, like, I think I've got down before for like some grappling competition to about 81. So I was like, I knew I could get to 81. And like, I knew from there I used to easily be able to sweat out kind of from that weight. But I mean, by the end of it, I think we did about a kilo. It was about 15 minutes in the bar, 15 minutes on the blankets. And then that was it. I was 77.4 it was in the end. But I mean, so nice and easy again. And it was more like it's not knowing like how I was going to bounce back.
Yeah.
Like, is the body going to be all right absorbing water back from there and kind of like getting in food and stuff like that? Or is it just going to have a bit of a shutdown and just not function the way it's meant to function?
And how was it? How did it respond?
Absolutely fine.
Wow.
I mean, touch wood, everything was great. Like, came back up. I probably walked back in. I mean, I was under 84 for the match, but I felt good. That's the main thing. It's not necessarily how much weight you kind of come back on. It's just being able to perform, being fast, and being able to kind of like keep it going for 15 minutes.
10 grams of protein and heart-healthy whole grains. Quaker Oats, the super trusted superfood.
Were you nervous about that? How your body would respond, not to the fight itself, but just like to the rehydration process? Was that something that worried you?
Success.
I mean, probably more nervous about that than the actual competition. You know, at least
Wow.
on the competition side of things, like at least I've managed to do that in the gym. But it's kind of whether I wanted to go through, I guess, the process a couple of weeks out of doing a cut and seeing how it kind of went back up. But I just kind of, I guess, had faith in my body would be able to do it. But you were like, you say before, you're like, hope this goes well, you know.
Wow.
You said like I was going to make the weight, it's just how it was going to come back on and how
Right.
it was gonna feel. So
At what point did you feel like, all right, I'm in the clear here? Because I'm assuming like for a few hours you're probably wondering like how's the body going to respond. When did you start to feel at ease that everything was going to be okay?
pretty much, to be honest, throughout the whole thing, because I said my memory of like obviously weight cuts like 9 years ago, I probably felt worse when I was cutting weight then.
Wow.
Rather than I kind of took nothing to chance this time, and it just was just an incredibly easy kind of I guess bringing it down during the week and then coming back up was just, I said, probably the easiest time I've ever cut weight.
That's amazing. And so you go through all that, and you strike me as a pretty sort of calm, cool, and collected guy. But considering it had been, since 2014, your last fight, how nervous were you before the fight? Like in the locker room before you're about to make the walk, were you more nervous than usual?
No, funny enough, I don't know if I was expecting maybe to be, but I wasn't. It's just the same thing of like, I guess, you're in a hall of 10,000 people. I don't know how many people watching worldwide, but you're just like, you know what? I got a job to do. I just got to concentrate on that job. I can't think about all the people watching and who are here. I'm just going to kind of crack on, really. So I kind of almost, I guess, zone them out and not focus about it.
Okay, wow. So you were okay. We hear about a thing called cage rust, octagon rust, ring rust, all that stuff. But that's usually from people who are out a year or two. You were out, over 8. How did you feel in the opening minutes? Of course, you're training. It's not like you're first time fighting in 8 years, but it's different when you're under the lights and you're going against someone who isn't the training partner or someone. So how did you feel in the first round, or like how did your body feel out there?
Body felt fine during the first round. The one thing that I kind of, I guess, chuckled to myself when I was in there was like, we knew he had a jumping left hook, and it was like, oh, we got to be careful of the left hook. And the first thing he basically punched me off was a jumping left hook. And I was just like, laughing myself, like, God, we've done everything. Like, and he's caught me with the one thing where we're like, okay, just be careful, because he's always going to do, stay long on your jab and stuff. But other than that, it was fine after that. Kind of just kept the pressure on, like just in the stand-up, backed him up, got him into the cage, and then kind of synced in a takedown, really.
You went the distance, and I saw something, correct me if I'm wrong, where you said you were disappointed you didn't get the finish. But perhaps silver lining is you went 15, you were making up for lost time. So why were you disappointed about that?
I think for me as a fighter, I always kind of, I guess, look for almost like perfection is what I want. And for me, perfection would have been having that fight. And then ideally, I'd get in the finish in the second round, or I almost caught a side, or I got into position to catch a side choke, I think twice in quick succession in the third round. And that would have just been perfection for me. If I'd kind of done the performance I did and got the stoppage or the side choke, would have been great. But do you know what? Yeah, as I said, I guess it just gets out more ring rust.
Yeah.
Going the 15 minutes, going that distance is quite cool. I mean, in the first round, we're having kind of a discussion with the ref on like whether the calf stomps I was doing were illegal because he was a downed opponent. So it was just quite funny. The ref was good and vocal throughout it, telling me all that. So we were kind of talking back and forth a little bit and making sure, like, okay, like this is illegal, okay. And then like kind of had a little word with me and Leia in one of the other rounds because I was just treading on the back of his calf. He's like, remember, don't stamp it. I'm like, yeah, no. Not stamping it. We did that. Kind of had that in the first round of like stamping down on his calf, and he was like, "That's a stomp for a down opponent."
That is amazing. You got your hand raised, and I was going over it. Last time you won a fight, it was on the same card that Stefan Struve knocked out Stipe Miocic in September of 2012. Right. I mean, feels like another lifetime ago. Can you describe what that moment felt like for you after everything you've been through, the surgeries, the doubt? I'm sure it wasn't easy on your body. I'm sure it wasn't easy for your family as well. What was that moment like when you finally got that hand raised again 10 years later?
Just a great moment. Almost words can't describe it. It's glorious. It's what glorious is. Why we do these kind of things is to kind of get that victory in there. It's winning, which is what matters, and kind of just getting a good performance out, which is perfect.
And now, some 48 hours later, how is your body holding up after a 15-minute fight? You okay?
Yeah, all good. Little bruise in the hand. To be honest, it's funny. It's those things what like you had kind of in the weeks leading up to it, like slight twinge in the ankle and this and the other, which is like probably the most painful things. Where you're like, okay, like I can now, I guess, focus on that and kind of get a little bit of rehab on it, and kind of get a bit more mobility back in the ankle and fix that up. But we're good. I'll be back training probably likely tomorrow, and just start picking up again this week.
Okay, and like the stomach, that whole region, everything, all good.
Yeah, everything's all good.
Wow, amazing,
Couple beers after the match, and that was pretty much it.
amazing. What did you have any beef jerky or anything? Any celebratory?
We actually, funny enough, we just got some normal kind of was it like the American brand like Jack Links in America, but we didn't really have too much. I've got no homemade stuff at the moment.
Okay.
I mean, I finished all my sauerkraut and everything else before kind of a competition.
Okay.
I'll have to remake a batch.
So when we spoke before the fight, you were talking about like how the UFC gave you the okay, this and that, to take this fight and to fight with Octagon, but you have a multi-fight deal with them unless the UFC comes calling. What do you think happens now for you?
I have no idea. I said, like, I'll get back kind of up to London on Wednesday. We'll get back kind of into the mix of training. I know Octagon have got plenty of fights they want to offer me. They've got kind of active welterweight division. So for now, I guess I'll just focus on what I can do and what I know can happen, which is with them in that. And then if the UFC come calling, then I guess we'll jump on that hurdle when it kind of comes, really.
Do you think you'll fight again this year, or is that too ambitious?
I know they've got a card, I think, beginning of December and end of December.
Oh,
So I'd probably look, if I'm going to do it, it'll be end of December or it'll be beginning of next year. But I said we'll kind of talk to the coaches on Wednesday and kind of go from there, really. But yeah, I mean, they've already happily said they'll get me on either at some point this year or beginning of next.
end of December is pretty quick turnaround.
Like,
You're okay
again,
with it?
I'm lucky that I'm unscathed kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than that, as long as I don't get anything else between now and then, I'm all good.
You or your team hear from the UFC throughout all of this? All the attention that you were getting, or even after the fight, did you hear anything from them?
I haven't yet, but I mean, I haven't checked too much with it. So, but I said I will check this week.
Yeah.
Just let them know what's happening and stuff. I know I've had a little Yasada message last week, it was, but just one of those reminders of like, don't forget to check in and log in your details. All right. Yeah.
Amazing. You were probably by far the cleanest fighter on this card. You're the only one getting tested by USADA on this entire card, right?
It's good. It's nice to know. Do you know what I mean? At least I'm clean. I'm tested. It's good. I'm happy with that.
You went through such a long period where you were kind of out of sight, out of mind. You were in this sort of like MMA darkness, and then the last few weeks, back into the forefront. People talking about you. You're doing interviews. There's features on you and all this stuff. What has that been like for you? All this, this attention once again for so many years. No one was talking about you. You were kind of like, there's so much going on. It's easy to forget about people. But now have you enjoyed that, or do you kind of wish that this wasn't a part of the gig?
I mean, it doesn't really bother. I'm happy to do it. Do you know what I mean? One of the nice things was we had a guy kind of doing like a bit of a documentary thing on us out there, and the sound guy what he was with, he's like, oh, I've got UC, like I'm on this kind of medication. It's all the same medication what I went through. Do you know what I mean? So I get to talk to him being like, oh, how you feeling? When to start, he's had it actually get it much longer than me, or like from a younger age than me. So probably the same amount of time. But it's just nice to be able to help people like that. As I said, I've had more people message me about either having it or been through it and stuff like that. So it's nice to kind of, I guess, the more I do publicity-wise, the more people know about it and the more people are open to talk about it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. If people have been reaching out and saying that you're an inspiration, that, I mean, if you can come back and fight, they can get back to a normal life, let alone fight. That must feel really great, right? To be that sort of role model for people dealing with this, because I'm sure it is not an easy thing to have to deal with.
Most certainly. I said, like, some of them have been going through, some of the people I've been going through hell, do you know what I mean? Hard times and stuff. And again, one of them's been through has the same worries what I had, where he's like, oh, I'm worried about going on biologicals. It's flaring up more and stuff. And I just had to be like, I mean, I was just honest with him, like what I've been through. I was like, the biologicals worked really well for me for a while as well. Like, don't be scared of them. I didn't want to do the immunosuppressants. I didn't want surgery even at the beginning, but I'm happy that I've had it all and gone through it and kind of come out the other side, and it's totally doable for it.
What is a realistic goal for you in the rest of your career now? Like, do you believe in your heart you can be a UFC champion? Is this something that you are shooting for? Are you just happy to get a few fights in? What are you thinking?
For me, I'll get another fight or two in, see how the body is. Again, I still feel like I can improve on the performance I had on the weekend, So as much as definitely when I first started fighting, it was UFC Gold, and that was what I had my eyes on and stuff. But for now, I'll have a couple fights. I mean, I would love it if I get back to that level, but we'll just see how kind of obviously each step up in competition and see how kind of I perform and whether I can keep going up and up in my level. You know, I believe I can definitely improve in everything what I've already shown on the weekend. So
Was there anything about this experience that surprised you that you weren't expecting that happened? You were like, oh, wow.
not so much. I just loved every minute of it. It was fun. You know, you just see me smiling in the cage like I normally am. The same way I am when I'm sparring and doing stuff. It was just a really enjoyable experience and a great show to fight on.
Well, it was the best thing I think that happened in MMA this past weekend. Delighted for you. Congratulations. Welcome back officially now, and I can't wait to see how this story continues to unfold. A lot of people are rooting for you, John, and I just think it's amazing that you've been able to come all the way back to now have success fighting again. It's truly remarkable. So welcome back, my friend, and thanks for coming back on.
Thank you very much for having me on, sir. And I look forward to hopefully speaking to you again in the future.
Absolutely. There he is, John Hathaway, victorious this past Saturday at Octagon 36. What a lovely, lovely guy, right? I mean, is there anyone nicer than John Hathaway?
Absolutely not.
I feel like he doesn't have a mean, negative bone in his body. I feel like you can learn a lot of things from John Hathaway, Frank. It's always so negative.
Thank you.
We can all learn a lot from John Hathaway. What about this card? The last time this guy fought, the last time this guy won was UFC on Fuel TV 5. I mean, look at this card. Stefan Struve, Stipe Miocic was the main event. Stefan Struve won via second round TKO. Dan Hardy versus Amir Sadala was the co-main. Brad Pickett versus Yves Jabouin was the, well, I was going to say tri-main. But, Matt Wyman versus Paul Sass. Remember the Sass angle? A lot of finishes on this main card. John Hathaway defeated John McGuire. And Shea Mills defeated Dwayne Ludwig via knee injury. It was a gruesome one. Jimmy Manuwa beat Kyle Kingsbury on the prelims. Akira Corsani beat Andy Ogle. A lot of blasts from the past names here. Brad Tavares beat Tom Kong Watson. Gunnar Nelson beat DeMarcus Johnson. That was a somewhat controversial one with the fight being a 183-pound catchweight. And Robbie Peralta beat Jason Young via KO. 23-second fight. And by the way, those were the days where the prelims aired on Facebook. That's how far we've come. Yeah.
Quickly,
Yes.
why is it called Octagon?
Because there's 8 sides. Oh, why is the
Just any opportunity to dunk on me.
wow. By the way, what a mensch. You know, can I just say something before I answer that question?
Yeah.
Usually, like my SOP, right? You know what SOP stands for?
Standard operating.
Yeah, is, you know, book someone. This is the flow. People always ask me about the flow, right? Book someone. Hey, can you join this time, that time, this time? Cool. Yes. Then reminder / send the Zoom link. Cool. Then reminder in the morning that you're coming on at this time. Cool. Come on the show. All good. Hopefully. Then after the show, send a text. Thank you for coming on. Wish you the best. Talk to you soon. Appreciate you very much. Right? That's the SOP. I just looked at my WhatsApp. John Hathaway has already texted me a thank you for having him on.
Oh man.
He was just on a minute ago. I mean, is that... I feel like we need to make like a Mensch Hall of Fame here, a Mensch Hall of Fame wall, and John Hathaway needs to be on there. I mean, the guy is just so low. I want to go get a tea and, what is it, a crumpet? Is it a crumpet?
Crumpet.
Yeah. Anyway, Octagon. Why is it called Octagon? I'm not sure, but it's Octagon with a K, by the way.
Yeah, Connor pointed that out to me earlier. Like, that gives them a pass?
I don't know.
I mean, does UFC kind of own the whole Octagon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
They own the patent. They own the trademark. LFA uses an 8-sided cage, but I don't know. Maybe because it's Europe. Oh, we should ask them that.
Be like, hey, great return to MMA. By the way, their promotion is called Octagon. Why?
Yeah. Well, they've had 36 events, and they're doing huge things over there in Europe, in the Germany, Czech. Is that Western Europe or Eastern Europe, or maybe is it Central Europe?
Eastern.
Last time, I don't think that's Eastern. Germany's Eastern Europe.
Okay, how many people were on the card?
On the Octagon card?
Yeah.
Why do you ask?
Well, I'm wondering, is there like 8 people on the card and they're calling that the Octagon?
No, that's not common. What do you think this is?
Not, I mean, 8 fights, not 8
Yeah.
individuals.
Do you think it's like a thing that
I
they?
don't know, I'm just wondering.
I'm looking at the card right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
All right, well, I've been wrong before.
Yeah. Anyway, that was lovely. I look forward to seeing where the story goes. In about 10 or so minutes, we're going to talk to Javier Mendez. Haven't talked to Javier Mendez in a while. He's the, I guess, head coach, co-head coach for Islam Makhachev. Obviously, Khabib Nurmagomedov is by his side. He's his mentor. I was thinking a lot about Javier's career, illustrious career, one of the greatest coaches in MMA history, and how much he's seen, how much he's done, how much he's accomplished. Of course, a former kickboxer in the Bay Area, and then opened AKA, and then, you know, for the longest time, AKA was one of the best gyms in the country. And I was thinking about, you know, I was talking to Chris Weidman about this yesterday. Chris Weidman actually has a new show on Sirius. Shout out to him. I think it airs at 5. I told him, you know, I wasn't going to be friends with him anymore if he went head to head with us. But 5 is safe enough. And it's called Never Back Down Radio. And I wish him the best. And he does a great job with his podcast too. And he's going to make a comeback. And he's hoping to return in early 2023. And what a story that's going to be when he does return. And I was talking to him about the fact that there's so many new fans to the sport. Like, there's fans who are just, you know, pandemic fans, if you will, who don't know what it's like to have fight nights in a different city all over, you know, the world or America, who don't remember that Chris Weidman beat Anderson Silva twice, don't know that Anderson Silva beat Anderson Silva twice at UFC 162 and 168 and the knee and all that stuff, or the leg break. Don't know about his story, don't know about so many of the guys, like John Hathaway, forget it. And he even admitted, like, yeah, I feel like people don't know who I am, or don't remember me, or, you know, don't care about me. And that's kind of sad. And I wish there was a way to keep those people in our, you know, in our thoughts more.
Hello, adventurer.
And so I was thinking about Javier and everything that he has been through and everything that he has overcome. And I was then thinking about, like, the long journey. And I was then thinking about November of 2008. November of 2008. And I've told this story some time before, but because he's coming on, I wanted to just reshare it, or maybe if it's your first time, share it to you for the first time. November of 2008, I was working for a website called MMA Rated, and that was my first site that I worked for after Jerry Park. He did the thing, 2007, October of 2007 to April 1st, 2008, get the job, MMA Rated, with just a couple days left on my deadline. And the site actually did really well and made some waves. Unfortunately, in November, they were sold. The site was sold to a different company, and they shut down the MMA page. And so I'm in San Jose to cover a Strikeforce event, headlined by Bobby Southworth versus Babalu Sobral, because at the time, UFC wouldn't credential me because they didn't know who I was or whatever. And that was the same month that Brock fought Randy. Couldn't go to that, so I went to Strikeforce instead. And I get there on a Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I get a call that the site was sold and was shutting down. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? But, you know, I was there in San Jose. So I went to work, and I went to AKA because when I would go to these events back in the day, there weren't media days. I would go to the local gym that had the pro fighters. And so I spent the day at AKA. There was a story that came out that night, and I think it was Kevin Iole of Yahoo who broke it, where a bunch of UFC fighters from AKA were unceremoniously fired because they refused to sign the video game agreement that pretty much, like, gave their likeness away. It was Cain Velasquez and John Fitch, Mike Swick, I think Josh Koscheck, and it was like a whole thing. So I go to AK that next morning, and the place is like shell-shocked. Everyone's talking about this. Cain Velasquez, future champ. No one knows what the hell is going on. And it was just a surreal scene. Everyone's, you know, buzzing about it. Like, what, is AK banned from the UFC now? They just fired all the AK fighters. This is pre-DC. And so I just happened to be there. And at one point in the day, Javier, who's the head coach, the owner, decides to hold a team meeting. And he and it might be fun to talk to him about this in a few minutes here. He lets me record it, and he even held my microphone as he's addressing these current and, for a moment, former UFC fighters who were, some deciding not to sign, some signed. There was a division within the team. It was a fascinating thing. I was like a fly on the wall. I couldn't believe it. At the same time, I'm now dealing with having to look for a new job as well. Like, they lost their job, I lost my job. It was just a weird time. And so I wanted to go down a little memory lane here and show you guys that team meeting. Here's a portion of it. Here's Javier talking to the crew.
How we are as a team and how we stay as a team. Okay, number one, what happened yesterday is what happened yesterday. Okay, every one of you fighters has a decision because it's your decision. You basically, all you guys are my bosses, basically. Every single one of these fighters, every one of you guys, with Koscheck, with Swick and Fitch and Kane, with Koscheck, his fight that he had with Thiago Alves, you know, Bob said, hey, what do you think of the Alves? And I was like, Koscheck says, I'm taking that fight. I don't care what you guys say. Well, guess what? Koss is the boss. I'm going to support him 100%. So I support him 100% because that was his decision to make, not mine. My job is to train him, to support him, to be his backup when he needs it. That's my job. That's my job with Swick. That's my job with Paul. That's my job with you, Kyle. That's my job with everybody here. My job is not to take sides. I don't take sides. One guy likes oranges, one guy likes apples. Well, okay, I'm going to go with the guy that likes
Look at
oranges
that crew.
because...
Koscheck,
No.
Kingsbury,
No, you guys are all the
Kane
same to
back
me.
there.
I love you guys all the same. I'm going to
Swick
treat you
there,
guys all the
Fitch
same. So
there.
whatever decisions you guys make, I'm backing them. I'm not choosing sides. And if we start choosing sides, are we a team? We discussed that already, you guys. We're a team. We stick together. If we don't stick together, what do we have? If all of a sudden everybody decides, well, okay, I'm going to go with Swick. Okay, I'm going to go with Koss. You know, do we have a team there? We got a team divided. Now we got two separate teams. And I didn't work so hard in everything I've done here for us to not be a team. We're a team. Let the management do what manager has to do as far as their part, but you guys direct management. Management doesn't direct you. Hence, this is the situation that came about. It wasn't management that makes the decision. The fighters make the decision because they are the bosses. All manager can do is encourage you guys and tell you what's on the table, and the fighters decide what they want to do.
I mean, you never
And we
get
can't
this
take
look.
sides on what your guys' decisions are. We have to go with it. Whatever you guys are doing within reason, that's within the limits of the law. And on top of that, you know, we're a team. If we can't be a team, well, what are we? You know, I keep saying team because, you know what? I think we all know we are a team. You know, so I want you guys to understand that no matter what happens here, Swick, you know, Van, whoever, we're a team. So let's remember that. And when we do our thing in here training, we're a team, and let's stay together as a team. That's what makes us strong. And we need to continue to be strong. Let the other things happen as they happen. But we cannot do one thing and separate who we are. We're an AKA team, and we're a strong team, and we're going to continue to be strong. Okay? So I don't want to say anymore. Let's not nobody talk right now. Anybody wants to do their own talk, we can do later. You know, but right now, let's work out. But I just need to say, let's stay together and be a team. All right? Okay, let's go, you guys.
Crazy moment in the history of this sport, November of 2008. Couldn't believe that I got to witness that. And then, in case you don't know, in the end, it all got worked out. And I remember talking to Fitch as he came out of the office, and there was a meeting, and they were able to come to some sort of agreement. And in the end, they were all brought back. But just an amazing time in the sport's history, and you know, a reminder of how long Javier Mendez has been in this game and the things that he has seen. And like I said, the entire DC run, the entire Cain Velasquez run, the entire Luke Rockhold run, the entire Khabib Nurmagomedov run, not to mention the guys before them that laid the foundation of what, you know, AK has become, from, you know, Koscheck to Swick. You saw Paul Buentello there. I mean, some blasts from the past names there. And now on Saturday, another opportunity to add more gold to AK with Islam Makhachev going up against Charles Oliveira. Without further ado, let us say hello to the man who was speaking in that clip, the great Javier Mendez. There he is. Javier, long time no speak. How are you, my friend?
Good, Ariel. How are you?
It's great to have you on. I really appreciate you doing this. I don't know if you were able to see any of that. Did you see that clip that I just played before you came on?
No, I was just trying to log in.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
I
I heard a little bit.
Do you remember that? That was November of 2008, the day everything happened with the video game, and I was at the gym. You know what I'm talking about, right? And you
Yeah.
gave that team meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was one of those type of situations where we had two sides, and I had to stay in the middle. I couldn't take either side because we're a team, at least as much of a team as I'd like to be in MMA. You know, there's no real authentic team because it's not a team sport. But I tried to do the best I could to keep us together, you know, without each other fighting each other because you did this or you did that. I was like, you know, and it worked. It worked. So, yeah, I remember.
It really did. And, you know, there were times where people were trying to get Swick to fight Koscheck. Never happened, so the team stayed intact. But on that day, it was really cool for us. Like, you let
Az, hogy reggel hideg volt. A formér Balázs, a kis csizma a Balázs.
Jó, hát akkor kész. És ezért megy legyen nyitva.
Nem szoktam a telefonon rajta. Anyám.
Nincs. És nyitva vagyod, az összes számot felveszi.
Legalább felismernek a...
Desko. Ezt a salátát innen mellé adják, vagy...
Nem, csak azt én szeretem.
Azért mondom, mert ebben is van egy csomó zöldség.
Elmegyek hozzájövök. Sokat.
Mennyire lesz eléje?
Egyetlen egy szerelem van. Hát nagyon éhes leszek. Hát ma most nagyon éhes vagyok, de nem tudok túlválni, tényleg kihalni. Másra is hazajövök munkából, eszünk.
Tudom.
Nagyon éhes leszek. Tegnap nem ettünk leves, ma mindenképp hát, nem azért főzünk, hogy ma se.
Nem azért tudod, hogy elkészítettem volna a mosat,
Nem.
akkor egyből tudtunk volna mosgatni, de ha már éhes vagy, akkor nem lehet. Én nem tudhatom a szendvicset, mikor ettem.
Hogy tudom, a melegben van, hogy ott is hagytam az egyik felső, mert nem mondom, amíg azt esetleg hiszem. Nincs a kobaltban az, hogy megsül, már
Mondtad, hogy vénasszonyok nyara.
ez tényleg szokatlanul hideg este hit. Túlnál is jövök haza, majd akkor hideg. Beletettem. Hangos, ideges sok.
Pappu.
Felső fele. Végülnek.
me record you, which I always appreciated. On that day, we got to see like the inner workings of the team, and it all got resolved. But did you feel, by the way, back then, like you had to do something because if this went sideways, you might lose the team, like the team might get fractured forever?
I didn't think nothing like that. I just thought that I'm the head coach, and there's a problem, and I have to try to look to fix it, and that was my mentality. It wasn't anything else. I didn't think further into it other than, hey, we have an issue. That's what a head coach is supposed to do, resolve the issue, and or do the best he can to try to resolve the issue, and that's what we did.
Yeah, and it worked out. Anyway, a fun trip down memory lane. Of course, you're in the UAE. You're in Dubai now or Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in Abu Dhabi getting ready for UFC 280. Could you tell me, do you remember the first time you ever met Islam Makhachev?
Transfer of high-fidelity video requires high...
I met him, I believe, was 2014 when he came in with Habib. 2013 or 14. He came in pretty early. He was one of the earlier guys that came with Habib as a training partner.
And a lot of guys have come with Habib, but I'm wondering if did he stick out to you? Did you feel like this guy had championship DNA, or was that something that developed over time?
Oh, no. No, you knew right away he had championship DNA, 100%. No, he showed it right away. He was extremely gifted back then also. He just needed more time, more work, but he had it all. Okay,
and it's tough when you're kind of like in the sort of shadows of Khabib. Khabib's such a big star, but Khabib has done such a good job of bringing him up, mentoring him, and he's sort of like his protege, if you will. Did you feel like for a while he was kind of like trying to be Khabib, but now that Khabib is out of the active game, it's allowed him to just be himself and go down his own path and be comfortable with who you know what I mean? Like that presence is no longer there. He's now coaching him, but he doesn't have to necessarily copy him.
He never copied him from the beginning. He never felt pressure from the beginning. Islam was Islam right from the get-go. He knew what he was going to do. He knew his path, and he had an example in Habib to follow, but he wasn't following in Habib's footsteps. It was Islam's footsteps, and it was his own identity. For instance, Islam doesn't have taglines. He doesn't have great lines that he says. Islam is not, he's not out there doing what Habib does. They're completely opposite. Islam's an adventure type guy. He's more of a cowboy Cerrone, if you want to say anything. In regards to activity outside of a fight, he loves horse riding and dirt riding and things of that nature. But no, they're completely different. And Islam has been 100% comfortable in his role, and he's never wanted to be Habib and always felt he was Islam. And also keep in mind, he doesn't have a nickname, and he never wanted a nickname. I tried to nickname him one time, but Islam said, "No, coach, my name is Islam." And I said, "Okay."
What was the name?
So no, I remember him saying no.
Oh, okay.
I don't need a name.
So he's won 10 in a row, but obviously first title fight, first main event on a pay-per-view. Could you describe, like, is he the exact same guy? Do you feel like he's, like there's a different, you've been in so many title fights, so many main events, there's a different kind of energy surrounding them, and this is a big one in the UAE for him. He's a big star over there. Same guys, same preparation, same type of camp, or do you feel like it's a little more, I don't know, there's like a little more of a buzz in the air?
Well, there's a little bit more of strict discipline in him. 100%. I've never had to worry about him in any department. I say, Islam, you need to do this. Oh, Islam, you need to. I never have to worry about him. I've never had him not following the game plan that the coaches give him. Habib, Saif, and myself. Saiful is his Taekwondo coach, Olympic Taekwondo coach that trains him, and then Muhammad, the other one at home that trains Abdul Manap fighters over there at the main gym, right? No, Islam is like the perfect student, and he knows what he's doing, he knows what he wants, and he puts in the work, doesn't complain. No, he's perfect. I can't say anything other than that, because that's exactly what he is. Very thoughtful about other people.
Really, that is great to hear. From a coaching perspective, how do you feel about this matchup? What were your initial thoughts when the fight was booked, and now throughout camp? Like, how do you? This is a fascinating one, given their strengths. How do you feel about the matchup?
I feel good about the matchup, and to be honest with you, I feel good about him with anybody because he's so well rounded that we can play any way we want to play with him. It just depends on what Khabib and I and Sayfullo want to do in regards to the game plan, you know. So he's going to do anything we ask him to do, and he's able to do it. So we'll see. We'll see come fight time. Just one thing to keep in note, you know, the one fight for Las Vegas, we had a game plan in place, and right as we're coming out the gate, I tell Khabib, I go, hey, I think that, you know, we're probably stronger on the grappling. Let's just go father's plan, and we did. Right as we're walking out, we changed the father's plan, and it worked out perfect. The plan was to stand with him originally, but we switched it, and it was beautiful. That's what's so beautiful about Islam, and people don't understand. And for me, this fight isn't about Charles. It's about the title, you know. So if come, you know, October 22nd and Charles is not facing him across the octagon, it doesn't matter. Someone is going to be facing him, and that's who he has to be. And that's who I believe and Khabib believes that he will be.
And for those that don't know, what exactly is Father's plan? Like what is that plan of attack?
I said it once before, and I'm really not going to say very much more. I'll just leave it at people to go ahead think Father's plan is what you think it is. But his father is a genius and a beautiful man, beautiful humanitarian who cared about people, loved kids, and did everything he could for them. So
10 grams of protein and heart-healthy whole grains. Quaker Oats, the super trusted superfood.
I'll leave it at he's just been around the man. If you had the privilege of being around him, you'd see what a beautiful person he was, and what a great coach, and how he formulated what he did. You know, it's him and I had a lot of similarities, and that's why I can identify with him. We had a lot of similarities, but the one thing that we weren't similar on is, man, he was a disciplinary guy. He was very, very, very much get in line. You got to be here on time. If you're not on time, you know, you need to tell me why, and don't do it again, type of thing. You know, he was very, very disciplinary like that, but he had so much love for all his fighters, so much love.
And of course, we're talking about the late great Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, and now his son Khabib has turned into one of the best coaches in the sport as well. Could you describe what Khabib is like as a coach and how he compares or maybe differs from his father?
You know, as a coach, I would say he compares more to his father than he does me. So he's more his father's student than he is mine. He has added some of my things that I've instilled in him, but I would say it's more like 85% father, 15% me.
Okay.
You know, that's how great his father had an influence on him, a great influence on him. And I would say I added about 15% or so. He definitely has me in him too, but you can't deny his father. No way. He is definitely his father's son.
So how would you describe, like, what makes him such a great coach?
The same thing for his father. He cares. He really cares. He thinks about his fighters. He does everything that's right for them. If they're late or there's something, he's out there, you know, giving them a talking. He takes care of them financially if he needs to. Whatever he needs to do, he does, you know, for them to make them excel. If they're going off the track, he puts them back on track, just like his father did. Everything his father used to do, he's doing too. And like I said, and I just added 15% or so to how he coaches, but it's mostly it's his father.
There was a great clip that emerged recently of him sort of talking to the team about, like, you know, he's talking to someone. It's unclear who he's speaking to about, like, being the weak link and not, you know, showing up on time and things like that. And you could just see he's a leader. Obviously, he's a leader. I'm curious, did you expect this from him? Like, when you know, since you met him and obviously you've been through a lot with him, did you know that eventually he would become a great coach, or is this something that he kind of had to develop rather quickly, of course, because of the untimely passing of his father?
No, this is something he's been doing since probably 2013 or 2014 when he was coming down with Islam Mabadov and Abu Bakr Zubaira and Umar and Usman. What he would do is even when he was fighting for his title fights, he'd be done sparring and he'd wait around to watch those guys spar and coach them with me and the other coaches while they're doing their sparring. That's what kind of love he has for the game, and that's the kind of love he has for his brothers. They may not be brother related, but to him, they're brothers, they're family. They've grown up with each other since they were little boys.
It's very clear that he has a ton of respect for you. The way he speaks of you, the way he speaks to you, always refers to you as coach and always kind of defers to you. Why do you think, and I know this might be a tough question for someone to answer, but I'm just curious, like, why do you think he respects you and loves you so much and has made a point to always have you by his side? Why do you think he has this connection with you?
I think he has this connection with me because he could identify with me in a lot of ways like his father, because his father would say a lot of the same things I would say, because I would always tell him, Habib, you need to do this, you need to do that. And he goes, yes, coach, my father says that all the time. And I'm like, I found that happens more often than not. Very, very communicative he was with his father about what's going on. And his father came to my gym and he came in to observe what was going on, how I trained him. And his father was so respectful when he came over, extremely respectful, never stepped in any way, shape, or form out of respect for the gym and me. And at the very end, when it was all said and done, he told Habib that he was very comfortable with me there, So all that worked out fantastic.
Yeah, I can imagine if he would have said otherwise, that probably wouldn't have continued, right?
Yeah. No, it wouldn't have continued. Had he said otherwise, it wouldn't have continued. And the biggest thing he always says when I used to see him is relax, 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 because it's a funny inside story. Because when Habib first came to me, I used to think this guy could be the greatest if only he would learn to listen. Because I would say, hey, relax, and he'd go crazy on the guys, and I'm like, oh man, this guy. And then I found out that the reason why he'd go crazy on the guys because he thought relax meant go harder.
Really?
Really? So he told me that. Yeah. So I went, oh wow, yeah. That's when I went, okay, no one's gonna stop this guy. When I realized that he was coachable, extremely coachable.
Is there any moment, like any quiet moment, where he says to you, "I miss it. I got one more left in me"? What do you got for me, Javier? Is there any time does the itch ever emerge?
What is this?
Cutting edge VR.
No, he's looked at it. He's looked at the coming out when the fighters come out and get introduced by Bruce Buffer, and he says, "I love this thing." But he's very, very much settled as a coach, and making sure that all his brothers, and like I said, they're not brothers, but to him they're brothers, that they all get the best opportunity to win a title, and then a lot of them are gonna win titles. You'll see. There's going to be a lot of people from Abdominal's gym that will win titles and 100%. And that's one of the reasons also, too, with the COVID situation that happened, I had to do something to figure out what to do. So I'm attached to Habib's team. So I'm with Habib wherever he goes. So wherever Islam fights, wherever Abu Bakr, Zubaira, Umar, Usman, any one of his fighters fight, I'm with him. I'm still AKA, but Ron Kessler, who is a great jiu-jitsu coach and a great head coach for me, is the head coach at AKA. So it allows me to be able to go roam wherever I need to with Habib and the team.
So where's your home base now? Like, are you always over there in the Middle East or Russia? Like, where do you actually live now?
No, the home base is always going to still be San Jose. But I will leave for a period of 2, 3, 4, 5 months at a pop to mostly over here, the UAE. Because that's what last year I was here for 5 months.
Wow.
The year before that I was here 4 months, and the year before that 3 months total. So I've been in the UAE quite a bit, and I love it over here. It's only during this time though, because it's super hot during the other times.
Yes.
The hot weather is the part that I'm not so hot about, but the beautiful weather, beautiful people, beautiful hospitality, custom. I mean, I love UAE. It's just a beautiful place.
Would you ever open like an AKA like a UAE AK? There's an AK Thailand thing. Would you ever do that? Is that a thing that you would then just be there full time?
I wouldn't be here full time, but if someone was interested in doing a AK licensing be out here, I would be up for it. And there is some talks about it.
Okay.
But nothing's confirmed as of yet. But there is some talks about it. There has actually, to be honest with you, there's been talks about 4 years. Well, the first time I stepped here, they were talking about that, but I was always negative on it. Now it's kind of like I'm more open to it.
I see you living life out there. I see you feeding elephants full watermelons, which seems unbelievable. You posted like this gold-plated here. We're showing the elephant right now. This is crazy. The elephant ate the whole watermelon. It seems like you're having they love you over there. They're giving you all these experiences. People really, really appreciate you and love you.
Yeah. It's great. Being Habib's head coach, it has a lot of perks, and that's definitely one of them. They love Habib. And if they love Habib, the coach is not too far below.
Yeah.
And
What is
that's
it like?
why I get all these perks. I'm not fooling myself. It's all because of Habib.
What is it like riding with him in Abu Dhabi or Dubai? Is it like, I feel like it's like being around Michael Jordan in his prime, or like a great, like a Ronaldo or something. Is it like that?
Yes, it is. If you're around, if people see him, yes, it is. It's crazy like that. And even for me in Dagestan, it's like that too. I get mobbed quite a bit over there. So yeah, I think any Muslim country, it's going to be that way for him, because they just love him to death. And you know why. Everybody knows why. Because he's a man of faith, and he walks the walk. He talks the talk, and he does it. He is 100% a true Muslim man that you have to love. If you know the religion, then you have to love him, because he is everything that Allah has put on this earth for. So you have to. I mean, you don't have to. That's a wrong word, but I'm just saying. You have to respect him. You have to respect him at the very least. If you're any kind of a person, you'll respect him.
And you really don't think he fights one more time?
No, I really don't, because it's not money motivated. It's
right.
Legacy. He's already made a legacy for himself, and now he's got a legacy as a coach. I happen to think he's going to be one of the greatest. And maybe I'm full of crap, maybe I'm whatever, but that's just the way I am with my guys. I'm very passionate about my guys and their ability, and if you don't put it out there, then maybe they don't achieve it. But if you put it out there and they believe in it, then maybe they will achieve it. You understand? So that's why I put out what I do, because I believe they could be, and if they believe they could do it, then they'll go out there and do more themselves.
Back to the fight itself. Could you tell me how you think it's going to play out? Obviously, you're very confident. Is there a scenario where this is a striking fight because of the grappling and the jiu-jitsu kind of offset each other, and they're both just swinging for the fences? What do you think?
Well, what I think is this. Okay, I think that Charles is great on the stand-up, can knock you out with anything, legs, knees, elbows, can choke you on the stand-up. He can do anything. On the ground, he can do the same, and he's dangerous off his back. But the one area that we win is the area where we can dictate where the fight's going to go. So we can decide how we want to fight this fight, meaning Islam, right? Because Charles, if he wants to take Islam down, good night. That ain't going to happen. He's just not. That's not his game, and he's not going to practice that game. He would take a long time to get experience being able to do that. But we, on the other hand, can take him down. We, on the other hand, can stand with him. So if things aren't going right on the stand-up, we'll take him down. Things aren't going right on the ground, then we'll stand it up. So that's the big advantage that we have. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's why the odd makers are slightly having us favored, for that very reason, that we can control where the fight's going to go. And as you know, as well as I know, following the game for as many years as we've been involved, he who controls where the fight goes is the majority of the time the winner. And I believe we are going to control where the fight goes.
You think it goes 25 minutes?
I'm expecting 25 minutes, because I never liked saying less than that. I want 25 minutes, yes.
Is there a case to be made for Charles? His fights have been great, 11 in a row, but he gets hit a lot. Like there are moments where he's like about to lose in his last few fights, and then he's able to come back. So he's very resilient, but he does get hit a lot. Is that going to catch up to him at some point? And at some point, he's not going to be able to come back?
Of course, you know, any doctor that's a brain specialist can tell you at some point you're not going to be able to come back. But I don't think this fight here is going to be that one. I still think he's still as dangerous as ever, and I think he's even more dangerous this fight. And the reason why I feel that way is because his title was taken from him not because of his performance, because of the scale. So and then he's the underdog. So having a 11-fight win streak like he has and being, you know, an underdog, hey, I'm sure it'll tell you. It's like, hey, you know, they must forgot who I am.
Right.
So I'm going to show them who I am. So he's got big-time motivation, and he's a great fighter, you know. And if we didn't think he was a great fighter, you know, then we're going to be sleeping on this one, because he is a great fighter. He is definitely a great fighter, and he's good everywhere, dangerous. Only area he's not, and they acknowledge it themselves, is wrestling.
So he's been around for a very long time. You've been around a long time. So you probably remember when he was like a 500 fighter, not fighting for belts, main events, things like that. What is the difference between this Charles, in your opinion, and the one who came into the UFC all those years ago and was just kind of winning one, losing one, missing weight, all that stuff?
Well, you said the key word, missing weight. It could very well be that the weight cut was too much for him, and he found a good weight for him where it wasn't such a struggle, where his mind's worried about making weight. Now he's more concerned about winning the fight, you know. And you know, let's face it, once you taste fame and you get money along with that fame, it gets addictive, and all of a sudden you don't want to lose it. So Charles is in a very good situation. He doesn't want to lose that. He doesn't want to lose that, what he's got going on. Rightfully so. Who would? You know, who would want to lose that? When you work so hard, and now you're in the money, everybody knows your name, and you're making a good income for your families. You're able to take care of people that need you. I mean, why would he not be motivated even stronger? He would be. You know, he would be. As you know, with DC, because you and DC are really good friends, you know, one of the reasons why DC took a fight with Miocic at the end, because the money was too good. Yeah. I wanted him to retire, but they offered him more money, and hey, it was money related. It wasn't the fact that he really wanted to fight as much as the money. So money has a way of motivating people, and you know, rightfully so, right? We all need to make a living in this world, and the more money we get, the more we can do, the more we can take care of people we love and less fortunate than us. So that's a great motivator. And you know, number one, in my opinion, fighters fight for, number one, I believe, money. Number two, legacy. Some fighters do fight for legacy, but I believe the vast majority of the fighters, if you told them, hey, you can fight for the title and we're going to give you $1 million, but you can fight for legacy and you're going to get 200,000. Well, guess what? Legacy is going to go out the door, you know, and that's rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not fooled by any of that. I know it.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying.
You mentioned that there's a backup fighter. His name is Alex Volkanovski, pound for pound best fighter in the world, featherweight champion. Rare situation where that guy is the backup fighter. And we only found out about this a little over a week ago. Perhaps you knew before, but I'm just curious. You guys talk at all about Alex are you game planning at all for Alex? Has he come up at all, or is it strictly Charles?
No, it's strictly Charles, and if it's Alex, it's okay, because like I mentioned earlier, Islam's good everywhere. So we're planning for a title fight. You can mix whoever you want. You can put Gagey in there. You can put Dustin in there. You can put whoever you want, Benio. It doesn't matter. He's ready for any one of those guys, because he's that good and he's that well-rounded. And that's what people are missing the boat on. You know, like, you know, as you know, some people, well, we're not ready for this guy, so we're not going to take that fight, but we'll take this fight. No, with Islam, I don't care. I don't care who it is, because he's that good in every area, you know, and that's why I make those boasts. And maybe I'm boasting. He's that good.
Wow. By the way, this past summer, two of your guys, Khabib and DC, were inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. What was that like for you to see both of them at the same time on the same night get in together? What did that mean for you, and how did you feel seeing them both get in? I believe you were there, right?
Yeah, I was there. It was fantastic. You know, I was very happy for them. It was kind of emotional, you know, but more for joy for them, not for me, just them. I don't look at me. I do what I do. I'm happy with what I got, what I do. You know, I don't look at it any other way.
But those are your guys. I mean, it's rare, two guys from the same team, like, you know, the small gym in the Bay getting in. That's a very special thing.
Yeah, it is. You know, but again, you know, I'm kind of, and it's bad to say, but even when my sons were born, I should have been happier than ever. But I was happy, but I wasn't overjoyed like everybody else. Like, I'm sure you probably were more overjoyed when your children were born than me. You'd probably look at me, what's wrong with that guy?
What is wrong with you?
Bolts?
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why are you like that?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
You've always been like that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah. People always ask me, hey, you know, what about with your accomplishment? I go, well, I haven't done nothing recently. You know, so it's not what I did in the past, it's what I'm doing now. So when I do something, it's kind of like it's behind me now. You know, it's not something for me to go relive. You know, it's what's new, what's next. You know, after Islam wins his title, who's next? I have Usman for Bellator, you know, November 18th. I believe 100% in my heart he will win. And once he wins, then I have Umar, his brother, who I believe is going to be a UFC champion. You know, with a little bit more time. So the bantamweight champion. So that's my mind goes like that. Not them. I have some other kids that I'm looking at. So I'm never going to be settled and happy with that, because I feel like there's more to do. There's more work, you know, and more fighters to help achieve their goals.
I totally get that, but at some point, life is short. Isn't it good to smell the flowers a little bit? Like, you win on Saturday, you're not going to kick your feet up and be like another champion, you know? I mean, how many will that be? 5 at this point in the UFC?
It'll be six. Frank Shamrock.
Frank Shamrock, yes, of course, in the late 90s. Yeah, I mean, that's a big freaking deal. How many guys can say that?
I don't know, maybe none, but you know, the thing of it is it's I don't want to talk about what I did. I want to talk about what I'm doing. You know, I need to. That's what drives me. Is you know, that's what keeps me waking up in the morning and go to the gym, because someone needs me. You know, and I want to help. Like, I guess that's probably how you can identify. I like helping people, right? So if I like helping people, that kind of makes sense. I never analyzed it, but now that you're bringing it up, I'm thinking, well, shoot, maybe that's why. Because I'm looking, who can I help now?
Okay.
I helped him. Now who can I help next? Maybe that's the reason why, because I'm always looking to help people. And everybody that knows me knows that I'm always looking to help. I'm always looking to give somebody this and that. And it's not for anything in return. It's just I always like helping people. You know, if I can help, I would like to help.
I respect that very much. By the way, one of your prize students, if you will, it still breaks my heart what has happened with Kane. Are you in contact at all with him? Are you able to tell us anything about how he's doing, how he's holding up?
No, I talked to my wife, and you know, I don't know exactly what's going on. I mean, obviously they did him wrong. You know it, and I know it. You know, and that's the thing. You know, he's doing the best he can. His family's doing the best they can, and they're out there doing their thing to try to you know, minimize everything. And hopefully at the end, you know, the right will be wrong, and you know, and the wrong will be right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And he'll be out with his family, because that's where he deserves to be. You know, he don't deserve to be where he's at. But, you know, the legal system is the way the legal system is. And, you know, years ago, there was a case where a man went point blank and shot the person that molested his child. And he did not 1 day in jail. Nothing. Wow. They let him out. Boom. But good old California. Being California, what are you going to do?
Right. Well, I wish him the best, and I wish you guys the best as well. Thank you for doing this, Javier. I really appreciate it. Great to catch up with you. And good luck to you and the team on Saturday. I know it's not just, you know, Islam on the card. Zubaira is on the card as well. You got 2 guys or 3 guys on this card?
I got 3 guys, and actually, there's actually 4. Because Habib was training with Bilal Muhammad. Habib paid special attention to him. And Abu Bakr, Habib's cousin, who is looking fantastic. And Zubaira, who's got a new life, you know, as a fighter. And people will see, they saw a good Zubaira last time. It was a warrior, went to war with a torn groin muscle that I didn't know about till after that fight. But Zubaira is healthy, and I'm expecting to see a more improved Zubaira on this fight. Also, he's actually a dark horse for, in my opinion, to one day threaten for the title if he stays on course the way I feel he will be.
All right, looking forward to it. Good luck to you. Thanks for doing this, Javier. I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, there he is, Javier Mendez, the head man for so many years at AKA, now with Islam Makhachev and so many others. He and Khabib Nurmagomedov have proven to be a formidable duo when it comes to coaching, and I just can't wait for this fight. It is an intriguing one. Let's talk more about the fight in a moment, checking in with the guys. First, though, a quick word from a couple of our friends, and by the way, still to come, Petr Yan fighting on the card against Sean O'Malley and the great Yuri Prochazka, the reigning defending UFC light heavyweight champion. So that is still to come. Stay tuned for that. But first, this episode is brought to you by our good friends over at the Beard Club. I love the Beard Club. And let's face it, gentlemen, maintaining a beard that's actually worth showing off takes some work. Even if you're going for the bushier look, trimming and oiling are essential if you want to tame the beast. Yes, you should see Mysterious Frank. What a beard he has. All kinds of beards on this program. We've got the Frank beard, we've got the GC beard, we've got the New York Rick beard, my beard. It's a beard-a-thon. Even Corporate Alex with a beard sometimes as well. Crypto Joe not so much, but you know, he has it in him. I believe he does. Anyway, Beard Club delivers high-quality hardware and consumables. That means goops and gels and oils and all that good stuff straight to your door. I like their shave butter. That's my favorite. The path to a fuller, more handsome beard starts with taking the beard quiz over at beardclub.com/Ariel. That's beardclub.com/Ariel. After that, they'll send you a kit tailored to your personal beard needs. They sent me all kinds of stuff, razor, shave butter, oils, all of these great things. And I like the way, you know, I have a very sensitive skin, Frank. It's very sensitive, and I like a nice, you know, I'm like a delicate wallflower, you know, so I like it nice and smooth, and that's what I get with the Beard Club. So grow your best beard today and take 20% off your first order when you go to beardclub.com/Ariel. Again, that's use code Ariel over at beardclub.com/Ariel. Beardclub.com/Ariel. Again, beardclub.com/Ariel for 20% off. Use code Ariel, ARIEL, excuse me, for 20% off your first order. What?
Do you know how to say your own name?
Yes, ARIEL. I'm trying to do this fast here because we have another ad read. We're rolling in the dough. Oh, DraftKings gets the music. This little Jaws theme. UFC 280 is here. Get closer to the octagon with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. Right now, new customers can bet $5 on UFC 280 and get $200 in free bets if your fighter wins. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook, today's the day. Plus, you can also double your winnings on a same-game parlay, combine multiple bets like which fighter will win, how long the fight will last, and much more. Everyone who wants to boost their winnings, place a UFC 280 same-game parlay today. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THEMMAHour. Again, that's THEMMAHour. Throw down $5 on UFC 280 and get 200 buckaroos if your fighter wins. Again, that's code THEMMAHour this Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook. Speaking of parlays, we almost had it. We almost got back on track, guys.
We were just that close.
We were just that close. I screwed up. Mea culpa. First time for everything. I apologize to all of you. It felt full, but now I know how Frank feels on a weekly basis. I mean, I just felt like
Frank was the hero of the show. He never missed.
God, why did I do that? Why didn't you talk me out of that? It was just too close of a fight. New York Rick still thinks Michaela Mayer won the fight, by the way. You should have seen our text thread, everyone. He's like, oh, this is a lock, this is a lock, this is a lock, this is... I'm like, I don't know what you're watching, man.
She look, started slow.
Yeah, very
clearly didn't win the early rounds. Then came on, was completely in control, and then kind of blew it a little bit at the end, but I still ultimately thought she won.
Bummer. How'd you guys do?
That was her fight to lose by the middle rounds, and she...
We got the graphic right here.
Yeah, let's see it.
We can see how we did. Pete Rodriguez said he couldn't do it, but he did it.
It's not that I said he couldn't do it. I just didn't want to put that out there. I do believe the Mike Jackson experiment or experience, whatever you want to call it, is over. And I really think the fight to make is Jackson versus Leiden.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
My mind couldn't process that for a second. So
if I'm like some like low-level regional event, book that fight. Think of the attention you'd get.
Big time.
I love how you're just throwing Casey into a fight without like consulting.
Why not? I see his Instagram. He's training all day, every day. If he's not working on the site, he's training.
Yes.
What else does he have to do?
Nothing. Fight
Casey versus Mike Jackson. I want to will this into existence.
If that happens, we all have to go.
Sure. I feel like by 2023, this could be a thing. First quarter 2023 is, I'm going to report it. I'm going to say, what is it? Like California Fight Club is targeting EKC versus Action Jackson.
Casey's, he just like me. He's a 155er now.
Jesus. I mean, he's just
I think I remember him seeing a tweet of some of the weights for some of the Bellator hydration, like after they rehydrated. He's like, geez, I need to go down. So I think
55.
I think that
Can't do this at 70?
mindset there.
I feel like we could do this at 70, no?
Let me just pull up. Let me pull up Casey's Tapology real quick.
Putting him in
Yeah, pull up.
Didn't know he has one. 5'11".
He hasn't even had a pro
44.
fight, and it's like, yep, you're in there now.
People are talking about it. The streets are talking.
Man, March 19th
wait a
was
minute,
when he
sorry.
fought. It's time to get back in there.
What do you
He
say?
says, I'm in.
He says he's in.
So
It's on
I
you,
was
Jackson.
prematurely taking him out. Yeah, Casey. I was trying to, be cautious and let him, make that, but he's already in.
He says he could do it at 160.
Ooh, low catch weight.
Yeah.
Maybe Eagle FC do a 165 er.
Yeah, do 165 right. Yo, inaugural 165 title fight. First of its kind.
But, yeah.
Listen, if you're a promotion out there, you will get free publicity. Put this fight together. I think, and by the way, low key, I think Casey wins.
Wow. Habib.
I think he wins. The takedowns are relentless.
Yeah.
What does Jackson have for him? Nothing. Now, he's fought on the big stage.
I mean, he's got pro fights.
It's tough.
Yeah, he's got pro fights.
That's
Pro.
do
By
something.
the way, can I just say, it is so weird when they're doing like the broadcast and he's walking down, they're like, and in 2018 he fought CM Punk. Like, you forget that was an actual thing that happened, that, CM Punk fought on a UFC broadcast, and then given where he is right now in his life and career, it just sounds so weird where they talk about it like it's a normal thing, part of the resume. Yeah, he fought CM Punk, and he won that fight, and it's just weird.
Yeah. It is weird. And
It is
if you
weird
Think
to-
about like, Bo Nickel needing all that experience.
Yeah.
But Bo Nickel not being ready for the big show.
Crazy stuff. All right, we're gonna will this into existence for now,
Four straight
though.
losses. 4 straight losses.
For Jackson,
No, for the Parlay Pals. I thought you were going to move on from the Parlay
sorry.
Pals. I just
Before we
want
move
to.
on from this, Casey
Yeah,
says
I did
low
just wanna
key.
say.
Like,
Well, low
why
key.
is it low?
Well, because I feel like
He's saying high key. Like, I got this dub.
well, I feel like most people would say,
The pro fight.
yeah, the
Except
UFC,
Casey
the
said
win
the
over
line.
Punk. Yeah.
Tough to see Mike as a favorite.
I mean, when's the last time Mike did?
I'm sure that Frank will be on Mike Jackson. We have no doubt he loves fading Casey.
I mean, maybe get Octagon on the phone. Let's see what happens.
Oh wow,
How about we get Jackson
Right?
on the phone first?
we're going to Frankfurt for this? That'd be
They're-
sick.
They're clearly up for a storyline.
Yeah.
They're taking Hathaway on as a project. Like, why not? Let's do it.
Imagine comparing Hathaway to EKC versus Action. I mean, the disrespect.
Hathaway can headline. Co-main event. Jackson.
By the way, we're
live.
putting together a nice little card here.
Let's do it.
Octagon's listening.
Yeah.
I think they're getting pretty hyped themselves.
I was pumping the brakes. Now I'm going the other way. Now I'm crashing through the wall with the car.
All right, so
March
how do we
19th.
do?
We don't want too much rest. For my bets, I did very well, especially for an Apex card like this. It's always good when you win. A lot of success with the singles. Shout out to the Pride of Alpharetta, Georgia, Rafael Sunsao.
Yeah.
Getting it done for the 30004.
Wait.
Flyweight on.
30004. Okay.
Yeah, that's the zip code.
At first, I thought you were going to do the area code. I was like, that's
A little long for an area code, but yeah, 770 if you want to go
People
that
usually
route.
use zip code, like it's usually the 209, the 212.
I feel like, you know, so like 770 is the greater Atlanta area, 404, greater Atlanta area. I want to get specific. Zip code of the gym, zip code of my address in my childhood, same zip code. Had to support. Flyweight unders. Keep on
Tough
winning.
weekend for the Bravos, but you know.
Yeah, we
at least
didn't have
one
to
of
get
mine.
into that. You know, the curse continues to get perpetuated. I wear the Braves jersey, then they lose the next two. Unfortunate. The Bills jersey is definitely cursed though.
Out of the barn.
Flyweight unders keep hitting. Going to be a tough test this weekend. We get our first under 1.5 in flyweight unders in the Muhammad Makayev fight, but hopefully we can hit that. To the parlays, do well. Obviously, only miss Michaela Mayer, but you know. We'll move on past that. But it was a good
What a
week
mistake.
overall. Profit on the singles, profit on the parlays. Always good when you see all green. Up 4.79 units on the week, back over 50 for the year, 66 all time. Usually I feel really confident going into pay-per-view weeks, but this card's a little bit tricky this weekend. DraftKings, our man Yeehaw Pat.
Wow.
Gets it done with Alexa Grasso, Jonathan Martinez, Asuncao, Minifield, the other Martinez, Mano Martinez, and then Jacob Malkoon. So shout out to him. 627 points. I'm still not sure if that's good or not. I haven't mastered the daily fantasy aspect of MMA, but shout out to him. We have a league this week. DraftKings gave us 300 entries.
Whoa. Hopefully
people will join that big card. Why not make an entry, only $3 to get in. So that should be a lot of fun. And then I got to shout some people out for the big hitters. Some people cashed out this weekend.
I've always wanted to do that.
Oh yeah. I love this. It's my favorite part of the show. Yeah. Ooh, make it rain, baby. Look at those hundies. Oh, that's nice. Wow. Oh.
A little music too.
Wow.
Why not? Winning weeks for these people. Let's start with Gamblers Inferno. Plus 41,699. I mean, I feel like for a bet like that, we don't unit shame here 50 cents into $208. But I mean, Pete Rodriguez by KO, Piero Rodriguez by decision, Malkoon by decision, Minifield by KO, Martinez by KO, Grasso by decision, Brito by KO or submission, Mana Martinez by KO or decision, Tatsuro Taira, submission or decision. All of them, essentially exact. There's a couple double chance theirs, but still. 41,000. That is quite
incredible.
The parlay. Keep it rolling. Spud Greg McElhaney, plus 8,885. 9-leg parlay. I won't read out each of them. Actually, I think this is 10. I didn't give him enough credit. $10 into 900. That's actually pounds, euros, one of the two. I'm not fluent in,
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. Anyway, great weekend for Spud Greg. Keep it rolling. Space Ghetto won. So what he did is he said he took all my singles -1 and parlayed them all together and turned $2.50 into 173. So shout out to Mark Davies for that. Plus 6,852. Great weekend for him. I mean, these guys just every week hit big parlays. We'll keep it rolling. 2 more to go. Plus 6,737. Jordan Van Wink goes Asuncao by decision, Brito by submission, Martinez by KO.
That was the one.
I mean, yeah, Brito, wow. Couple options. $10 into 673. I actually like this frustration you have. I think this is going to make you better.
I was so mad.
Last but not least, Calvin C. picked Martinez, Cub Swanson to end in the second round. I don't know what made him do this.
Wow.
Sharp play. $250 too to win $1,500. Fantastic play from him. So shout out to Calvin C. B. Anon 2020. And those are the big hitters.
Amazing. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Congratulations. A lot of money going around.
You guys share my enthusiasm for this weekend, and perhaps I'll ask you, Near Quick, like based on what I was saying, Apex versus these, you know what I mean? Like the Apex cards suck so bad, but the positive is it makes these events feel that much greater and better. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, you get to sometimes skip them, tune out,
Right.
take those breaks in between. That used to be actually built in. There used to be time off. Now there's a card every weekend that you're anticipating the big ones more. I'll put my neck out there.
Uh-oh.
I don't really hate the Apex cards that much.
Really?
Man.
Wow. I'm overdoing it.
The
I mean, I
cards are
get your
fun.
point.
I don't think so.
I'm not gonna pretend that like it's thrilling. But
What do you like
drop
about
off
them?
in quality. It's not that
It's not that you like them, but you just don't hate them.
Yeah, they're fine.
Fights are
I-
fights. You're saying we get UFC, so
It's
what,
functional.
What's the complaint about?
Really?
Functional.
I
I'm
can-
a practical man.
I can kind of agree with that, but these shows with fans are so just astronomically better. I can't even compare the two.
I actually think that the performances are better as a result, right?
I think so
Like
too.
you feel that they're
Post-fight
rising.
moves are better.
Yes.
I think everything.
All kinds of fighters have talked about that, right? Like Tony Ferguson, all the way down to people on the prelims, have talked about the fact that they need that energy from the crowd and that it changes how they fight. I get it. I completely get it. But there's also something to the convenience of every week. It's there, the consistency, and I'm thinking of this not as a fighter, not as a fan who's purchasing a ticket, but as a home viewer the majority of the time.
But there's no reason for
works.
it. There's no reason for it. Like there was a time in this era of 43 events where they were going to a different city and arena every year.
Yeah, the
Used to be
logistics
every
are
week.
a lot easier. The costs are a lot
Yeah.
lower.
This is not pro MMA. This is not the big leagues. This is not the creme de la creme. If the product, by the way, if the product was like this in 2007, I don't know if I fall in love with it.
You're not wrong.
That's fair.
Thank you. Can't beat that.
How many fighters do you think
Can't
have
beat it.
only fought in the Apex?
I mean, there's dudes like
There's a lot.
we're talking to Brandon Royval, who unfortunately didn't end up fighting. He's like, yeah, I've had 4 fights, only one has been in front of a crowd. I was so happy. I was like, you're talking about the big leagues now. Of course, unprecedented times, COVID, this and that. But by early this year, all that should have been out the window.
Yeah. I mean,
Look,
I think it will shift back at some point. I think there will be a.
What's the best comparison to all of this? It's probably pro wrestling, right? Where it's like one organization owned by one entity and they go week to week.
Sure.
WWE, superior product, by the way.
That's a hell of a take. by you.
Oh my God! Everyone's so sad. Watch them; they're all gonna clip it up. All these people. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into all that again. Even AEW.
Yeah.
Although they tape a second show, they're going. WWE is going 2 shows Monday, Friday in a different city, 52 straight weeks.
Yeah.
AEW's doing 1, sometimes in a second place, 52 straight weeks. How do they do it and these guys can't?
I don't think they can.
Can you imagine if those shows were in a performance center or something like that? It would suck.
Look, I'm newer to all this.
As a TV viewer, they've got it so dialed in. I don't.
Wow.
I don't mind
This
that.
is shocking.
As a paying
I want the
fan,
random
think it feels
cities. I want the.
as a
Yes.
paying fan with a ticket, now it's a different.
I
thing.
want Grasso
want-
fighting in Mexico. Grasso fighting in Mexico.
I get it.
I want UFC Nova Scotia.
Yes.
The random city, Seattle.
Yes.
John Hathaway fought on a
I think-
Macau card or something.
Yes.
I'm.
Give me those.
Yes.
I think I'm disconnected. I'm not aligned with most people. I can admit that. I don't think I'm on the side of everybody. For example,
Well played, Frankie.
For example,
Yes.
when people freak out about Bellator went to Dublin, if I'm not in Dublin,
No.
I don't care.
Oh, this is the worst take.
You
of
don't
all
think it's
time.
cool?
I actually had you for a moment. You turn on that. It's not just. It's a great card and
Don't
atmosphere and environment. It actually comes across as
Sorry.
a different event, like a different promotion.
It's great.
You don't think it's
I'm
more
fine with it.
enjoyable?
You don't
as a
care
viewer?
at all.
If you're there with a ticket, sure,
Oh, this
get
is
it. On TV,
You're
Not that
insane.
special.
What?
Really not.
Okay, that you actually started off.
Mohegan Sun in Dublin. and
Yes.
places.
same.
I turn on.
I'm turning it on. The same chyrons on the screen. The same
No.
people are in the cage. It's the
You're
same stuff.
telling me it doesn't come across when you're watching on
Yeah,
TV?
maybe like infinitesimally different. Like
Wow, what
sure,
a word,
there's-
by
That's
the
a
way.
big word. He's
What a word.
There's a
That's a
boost.
big word.
It's not enough to make me care. It's not.
Are you serious right
now
now?
for the
Crazy.
fans in the arena? Special. Get it. Completely get it. Understand it. Everybody else.
This is. I mean,
Watch.
I don't
watch
want to
it,
bring up
don't
the
watch
infamous
it.
one, but like this is. You actually, I was like, all right, maybe I'm overreacting. Now you're saying, what was that football game on Saturday? It was Tennessee, right? Tennessee, Alabama.
Alabama. Oh my God, yeah. Put that in an empty stadium.
I mean,
Yeah, we're only playing the hits there.
What are you talking about? The hits?
You're going to the cards that were special or felt different. Like every weekend in where's like where do they go in northern New York? Rochester.
Albany.
Not special. Not special.
Okay,
Sorry.
but more
Not
often
special.
than not.
Some random town in Virginia, Texas. Not special. They're not.
You're so wrong on this because one of the greatest moments ever in
You're
fan.
pointing to the hand.
No. You just said some random city in Virginia. You're gonna boo me? You don't boo me? That was in a random city in Virginia. You don't get that moment.
That moment's great. That moment.
Yeah, you don't get that moment if it happened at the
You get
Apex.
the Apex.
No booing. Come on. All the great moments. Are you Khabib winning at 205? And he's like that chicken from Ireland. Like you don't get that. People booing.
That's a pay-per-view.
Oh, stop it! This is crazy.
Pay-per-views are not in the Apex.
Bellator's greatest moments of the year, like they're the only time that they come across like truly big league is when they're in Ireland.
Yeah, but there's factors to that, right? Card construction. They're gonna save their.
By the way, the cards aren't even that good.
I would argue it's the best that they've got. They're saving their better card for when they go to these places.
This one had Yoel and
That's one of their biggest stars.
yeah,
it's not their biggest.
It's not like Pitbull. It's not AJ
Wait,
McKee. What?
Yoel is not a bigger star than
I'm just saying.
Pitbull or AJ McKee.
AJ's
Stop it. Don't do that. Stop.
at this juncture. AJ's higher up there.
Come on, man.
You're crazy.
Come on,
You'd rather watch
Crazy.
AJ than Yoel right now?
Yeah, of course.
Yoel is.
AJ's like 25 years old, or whatever he is, 27.
Believe me, I'm not arguing who's a better fighter. Don't get me wrong here, but come on, stop. Yeah, AJ McKee's amazing. I love you. But and listen, I'm willing to say that I'm not probably in the popular opinion on this. I get it, but I really don't. It doesn't translate for me. I'm not like, wow, this is so much better. It's fine. It's good. I'll take it. For the fans there, for the people in the arena, completely get it.
I turn it on, I feel like my soul dies.
It feels, it sounds weird. I'm new
You
to
agree
all
with me,
this.
Frank, right?
Yeah. I'm like,
just want to see.
I actually pipe in my own crowd noise.
Yes.
I like.
I had a feeling you did that.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
Is it like region
I felt
specific?
better
Do
when
you
the-
record a game from?
Yeah, I'm just like, can I just hear some of this so I can?
when the Zuckerbergs were there, I felt better. I was like, at least there's somebody enjoying.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, no, there's typically people there.
Yeah, there's people,
There's
but it's
actually
like
less people there when
No,
the
no.
Zuckerbergs.
I love Joe Martinez. Las Vegas, make some noise if you are ready. And it's like
Can we give a shout out to Martinez?
he's so good, but like
So
his energy doesn't translate to
No, I
Las
know what you're
Vegas,
saying.
make some noise. Like no,
Joe is great.
The corner of Flamingo and whatever that street is, make some noise because you are here. We are ready.
I understand. I get it.
What's the best fight on this weekend's pay-per-view?
Oh my God. I mean, Islam Jones. Has to.
I feel like you can make a strong case for O'Malley and Jan. No.
The one that I am most intrigued to see what.
Okay, which is the best bantamweight fight on this card?
TJ and
Yeah? No, not the best in terms of talent, just like the most.
Yeah, no,
All right, fine. Jeez.
I mean, it's the championship fight, dude.
Yeah, but I'm so intrigued by
I know.
O'Malley.
Sean wins. It's crazy.
It's craziness. Crazy.
I mean, Jan wins. It kind of.
Does O'Malley get a title shot if he wins?
yeah.
Oh yeah. I feel like they have to. Like,
O'Malley versus
step up to
Aljo would
the
be
plate,
big time
beat Jan.
stuff.
I
O'Malley
mean,
still
we
shot.
can talk about Sean O'Malley's road here. But if he
still a shot.
if he beats Jan, like that, he deserves a title shot. Like, you know.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah.
Like what would the argument be at that point? Like if he beats.
So how do you feel if you're Cheeto Vera?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like what do you say?
I mean, he just had a big time win. He beat a former champ too, and he has a win over O'Malley.
O'Malley. If O'Malley beats Jan, there's no stopping that train. There's no stopping that train.
Are you saying a win over Jan is bigger than a win over Dominic Cruz?
Yes. At this point in their careers, absolutely.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait for it. Brady
Now, that's
Bilal.
To be
Oh,
honest,
my
I think
God.
Cheeto Vera's run is underrated, especially the win over O'Malley. I
Yes.
think his run is underrated. I think he could have been fighting for a title already, but you can't stop that train if O'Malley gets the momentum. There's no way.
Because if someone misses weight, then it doesn't become a title fight for them, and they don't want that.
Yeah, but let's say you're Islam.
Yeah.
And Javier Mendez just came on this show and said they're not preparing for Alexander Volkanovski, right? He just literally said that to you.
Yeah.
If you're Islam and Charles misses weight, I could still fight Charles and win the belt. Why does Charles?
I'll tell you why. Because let's say Islam makes weight, Charles doesn't.
Yeah.
And let's say Volkanovski wasn't a factor, or they don't tag him in, right? Charles wins the fight. The belt is still vacant. That's a nightmare for them. They don't want that. So here they are ensuring that it will be a title fight for both sides.
Who's ensuring that? If you're Islam, though, and I've been preparing for Charles, do I have to take a fight with Alexander Volkanovski?
By the way, do you think the UFC even asked Islam if he's down with this whole scenario?
Well, this is my point, right?
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, so you're fighting for fighter rights right now? Yes, I agree with you.
I'm not sure that
if there was a fighter rep, he would negotiate this sort of thing. Like he would collectively bargain about. Yes, you're 1,000% right.
If Charles were to miss weight, and by the way, I don't think Charles is going to miss weight. I think this is a little like, I get what happened last time. I understand why we're kind of talking about this and this has become a storyline. I don't think Charles is going to miss weight. But I would bet on that if there are odds, and I'm sure there are. I don't think Charles is going to miss weight.
Are there odds?
If he were,
No, not that I know.
Right.
if he were, and I'm Islam, I don't know if that's a guaranteed, like, I can still win the title. Why am I doing the UFC or Charles a favor?
Yeah, they put you in the
or
title
sorry,
fight.
or Volkanovski.
By the way, UFC did Islam a favor.
Okay, so then that's a good answer.
He didn't have to fight Beneil.
He does him a fight. Does him a favor. But I don't think, like, Volkanovski is talking about it. You had him on, and he was talking about if he misses weight, I think I step in. Maybe. Who knows?
I sort of feel like they want this to be clean, and they want it to be an official title fight for both guys.
Everybody is rooting for, I mean, even it's probably Alexander Volkanovski to a certain degree, is rooting for this to come off clean.
Right.
Somebody's the champion, and then he eventually fights them on a full training camp. You know, some scenario like that. So
it's going to get really interesting if he doesn't get the fight, makes weight, doesn't get the fight goes off, Beneil wins in impressive fashion. How do you tell Beneil to sit down?
The same way you've told them the other times.
Yeah, but now it's like, I don't know.
Pound for pound, number one wants to move up to lightweight.
That's it.
Fight
That's
for the
it.
title.
It's tough.
That's what you tell him.
The pound for pound number one in the sport said, "I want that belt." There's what's the
regardless of who wins. Let's say Charles wins on Saturday. What does better numbers for the UFC?
No, I know,
Charles
but
Volk, Charles Beneil.
He gets a big win over Mateus.
I mean, what you could do for Beneil is say, finally, after all these times that they haven't, you get the next shot.
Yeah.
We're giving you the next shot no matter what. That could be something you could do for Beneil, and I don't think he'd have too much of a problem with that. Maybe he would. I mean, again, to your point, it's, you know, he's put together enough to be there. But if you give Volkanovski the title shot, what is it, February? And you say, Beneil, you're next. I'm okay with that if I'm Beneil Dariush.
Well, there's another interesting thing that's going to play out. If Charles wins, how do you not put Charles in Brazil?
Right.
I could see this scenario. Charles wins. Charles has become such a big star. I was talking to Brazilian Beast, Guilherme. Like, he's become such a big star. How do you not put him in Brazil? And then is there a scenario where you've got, it's almost like unfortunate. I'm so happy that they're going out. They're going to Brazil. They're going to Perth. This is great. This is what I'm advocating
I was
for.
about to say, maybe Charles at the Apex?
Yeah.
Kidding. All right.
Neutral ground. No, but here's the thing. Maybe there's a scenario. Charles wins. Beneil wins. Alex is standby. He's like, yo, I don't want to go to Brazil. I want to fight in Australia. Maybe at that point you do Charles Beneil and Alex fights for 45 and then gets a shot after that.
Okay.
Of course, has to win.
45 in Perth, Charles Brazil, Beneil.
If you're booking it for maximizing the intrigue in those two cards, that's 100% the way to go. If you're
Charles versus Volk would be so great. It's just unfortunate that they're back to back, right? Because if I'm Charles, I'm like, why would I go there if you're coming to my, you're coming to my country in January, and Volk is like, why would I go there if you're coming to my country in February? Both haven't had the homecoming fight as champs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if Beneil loses? He's a pretty heavy underdog.
So then you do Gamrot for the belt.
Oh,
No, stop,
man.
come on.
No, not
If
yet,
you-
right?
No. But okay, so wait. If Oliveira wins, and you want him in Brazil, who's he fighting for the belt?
I don't know why that feels rushed for Mateus.
Here's the thing.
Who's he fighting?
The biggest fight for Charles Oliveira is Alexander Volkanovski. At the end of the day,
I just don't know who he's fighting.
the biggest fight for Alexander Volkanovski is Charles Oliveira.
Conor McGregor,
Or-
January.
Yeah, winner of Poirier.
Let's go.
Shanley.
No, I get what you're saying. I agree with you.
I get that. Look, if you ask them would they want to fight at home, I'm sure the answer is yes. But if you ask them would they rather be a part of history, I think they'd probably choose that.
McGregor.
Is my guess.
And to be clear, because I see some activity here, I know it's still a title fight, but it's only for one guy. What they're trying to avoid, if someone misses weight, is the same situation that we're in right now.
Yeah.
If Charles misses weight and the fight goes on with Charles involved, and then he wins, it's still a vacant title, and that's messy. So that's why they have Volk there. One of the reasons why, of
You
course.
honestly make a decent point with.
It makes complete sense. It's just that Islam should have some control over this scenario, right? And hey, we don't know. Maybe he signed off on this. Maybe he said, "Okay, I'll fight Volkanovski." But as you know, as Javier just came on and said, they're not even thinking about Volkanovski. But to his credit, he said put anybody in there. He named
This is how-
Justin Gaethje,
Right.
Dustin Poirier, and Beneil Dariush, and Alexander Volkanovski, and said he'll beat any of them.
This is how the negotiation will go. Hey, Ali, you're fighting Volkanovski. Yes, brother. No problem, brother. We're fighting Volkanovski. I'm going to tell you more about the light heavyweight situation, December 10th, UFC 282.
Looking forward to it.
In Las Vegas. For now, though, let's talk to one of the names we just were speaking about. One of the massive fights on this fight card. It's Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for this. I still can't believe it's actually happening. Here he is, the great Petr Yan. Hello, Petr. How are you, my friend? Spasiba.
Hello, Ariel. Everything good?
Everything's great, my friend.
Welcome.
Yes, it's good to have you on. Thank you so much for the time. I know it's late over there, so I appreciate it. Can I ask you, Petr, what was your reaction? And I don't know if Sayat is there as well. Hello to him if he's there too. Is he there, Sayat, or you don't need him anymore?
Yeah, I'm here, Ariel.
Oh, okay, what's up, Sayat? I thought maybe Petr could do it by himself. He's so good at English now. But can I ask you, what was your reaction when you found out that the UFC wanted to book you against Sean O'Malley? It was a big surprise. What was your reaction?
For me, it don't was a big surprise. Yes, this fight I not what want Sean O'Malley. Yes, I thought about this fight, my manager, and after they talked with UFC management.
Are you surprised he agreed to the fight, that he wanted the fight?
Был ли ты удивлен, что он именно согласился?
Нет, я не был удивлен, что он согласился.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised he accepted the fight.
How come? Because I think, he has fought a certain type of fighter for the majority of his career. And other than Chito Vera, no one on your level. And this is a big jump for him. So I'm just curious why you weren't surprised that he was down to fight you.
Почему ты был удивлен, что он согласен с тобой драться? Потому что в основном дрался не с топовым соперником, кроме Читовера.
Ну, послушай, для него это хорошая возможность. Я думаю, что ни один бы боец 105, не был бы это я, не согласился бы драться с бойцом там 13 или какой он номер.
You know, it's a good opportunity for him. It's a big opportunity for him, and I believe no one from top 5 would have accepted the fight with him except me.
И для него это отличная возможность проявить себя, там, не знаю, если доказать, что он достоин.
And for him, it's a big chance and opportunity to show everyone and to prove everyone that he is a deserving one.
Все его 9 боев, 8 боев о нем говорили, что просто ему дают мертвых соперников.
All of his 8, 9 or fights in UFC, everyone was talking about that the opponents he faces, basically like dead people he faced.
Do you feel skill-wise like he is on your level?
По навыкам считаешь ли ты, что вы на одном уровне?
Я не считаю, что мы на одном уровне. Я считаю, что я лучше него во всех аспектах и как боец целостно.
I don't think we're on the same level. I believe I'm better fighter than him and in all aspects,
Even, of course, the striking, that's his big thing. And that's where I think a lot of people think this fight is going to be contested. Do you feel like this fight is mainly going to be on the feet?
И даже в ударке. И считаешь ли ты, что в основном этот бой пройдет в стойке?
Я не думаю, что этот бой будет проходить только в стойке. Вот. Но даже в ударке я вам скажу, что я не считаю, что он какой-то сверхъестественный, там, что обладает какими-то способностями, которые я не могу решить вопросами.
I don't believe the fight will be on the feet the whole time, and even like on the feet, I don't believe he have some superior skills than me.
His performances are polarizing because he has looked very good in the UFC, but some people try to discredit him and say, oh, he's not fighting top-notch opponents. Are you impressed with what you've seen from him in his UFC career so far?
Многие его критикуют за выбор соперников и так далее. Был ли ты впечатлен его выступлениями в UFC?
Я не был впечатлен его выступлениями. Еще раз повторюсь, что это не он выбрал соперника, это мы выбрали соперника. Также уже понятно, что UFC верит в него, и он также считает, что стилистически я ему буду очень удобен. Вот. Но я стараюсь, так скажем, разочаровать его мысли и доказать, что я являюсь номер один не просто так.
No, I wasn't impressed with his performance, and I want to say it again. I was the one who chose to fight him, not he wasn't the one who picked me. And I know that UFC really believes in him, and he also believes that maybe stylistically it's a good fight for him, but I'm here, to disappoint and upset him.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you were the one who chose to fight him. So then can I ask you, why was he your choice after the Aljo fight in April? Why was he your choice to fight next?
Почему пал выбор на него?
Потому что первая пятерка, топ-5 бойцов были заняты. И, опять же, повторюсь, мы не готовы ждать долго, сидеть без работы. Поэтому я здесь.
Because, everyone in top 5 were busy, and I'm not here to sit around and wait without work. I'm here to compete and fight.
Could you tell me what happened with Chito Vera? He was saying that they tried to book you guys in August, and then he said that you went on vacation, but we haven't had your side of the story. So could you tell us, did they offer you a Chito Vera fight, and if so, why didn't it happen?
Можешь рассказать, что случилось с Чито Верой? Он говорил, что вам предлагали бой в августе, что ты отправился там в отпуск.
Да, был разговор о нашем поединке, на что мы дали согласие, что мы хотим подраться в сентябре. Вот. Я дал свое согласие на бой с ним, но как только мы дали согласие, он сказал, что я не хочу ждать сентябрь, я буду драться в августе, хотя там была всего разница 3 недели. И если бы он реально хотел со мной подраться, он бы принял бой в сентябре. А так он просто балаболил, и когда дело коснулось, он просто не принял этот бой.
Yes, there were talks about fighting Chito Vera. I accepted the fight with him in September. I wanted to fight him in September, but he wanted to fight in August, and he couldn't wait a few weeks to fight me. So it means he didn't, put his action where his words were at, because if he really wanted to fight me, he would have waited for me, because I'm the number 1 contender in the world.
3 weeks, it's not very long time, huh? If you want to fight with first contender, number 1 in rank, it was problem his end.
He said a lot of things about you, some not so nice things. Did you hear these things? Did they upset you?
Он много чего наговорил о тебе, слышал ли ты об этом?
Я сейчас не обращаю на это внимания, сейчас я сфокусирован на поединке с Шоном Омейли, а после мы уже будем смотреть на происходящее.
I'm not worried about that right now. Right now, I'm focused on the fight with Sean O'Malley, and after that, we'll see what's going on.
Can I just ask, what did you think of his win over Dominic Cruz?
Как ты оценишь его победу над Крузом?
Я не помню вообще этот бой, честно сказать. Не помню, как произошел этот бой.
To be honest, I don't remember this fight.
Okay, fair enough. This is my first time speaking to you since the Aljo fight in April. Can I ask, looking back, what do you wish you would have done differently in that fight?
Что бы ты сделал по-другому в своем предыдущем поединке?
Ну, сейчас говорить, что бы я сделал, просто немножко, это моя была ошибка, мои ошибки, которые я допустил в этом поединке. Вот. За что я поплатился, так скажем. Но я не считаю, что я проиграл этот поединок.
I know my mistakes that I made in this fight. I don't really look back. but I still don't believe I lost this fight. But I know I did some mistakes in this fight.
So do you feel after watching it even at home, do you feel like you should have been, the fight should have been scored in your favor? You should have won the fight?
После того, как ты пересмотрел бой, ты считаешь, что должны были тебе отдать победу?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Если посмотреть первый поединок, что было, что я с ним сделал, да, второй поединок он был лучше, но и я допустил свои ошибки, так скажем, не доработал, недооценку какую-то, можно сказать, допустил, да. Но я был чемпион, или не был я чемпион, или временно был чемпион, да. Но я не считаю, что он выиграл этот бой.
Yeah, if you look at the first fight, what happened in the first fight, and in the second fight, obviously he performed better, and I made some mistakes, but I still don't believe that he should have won that fight, the second fight.
Did it take a long time for you to get over that fight in April?
Много ли времени тебе потребовалось, чтобы именно забыть про этот второй бой?
Да, я немножко отдохнул с семьей и пару месяцев вообще практически не тренировался. Вот.
Yeah, I had some rest. I had vacation with my family, and I didn't even train for a couple months, to clear myself.
I guess what I was asking was, like, were you very upset? It's one thing the way the first fight ended, but this one, like to have it end like that, to have the judges scored for him, was it a fight that really left you very upset?
Сколько ты был сильно расстроен из-за того, что как закончился второй поединок?
Ну, что было, то было, да, сейчас что говорить уже об этом, поэтому движемся дальше. У меня такой по жизни девиз двигаться вперед, не оглядываясь назад, поэтому я думаю, что все лучшее еще впереди.
My motto in life is always look forward, don't look back. I believe a lot of good things are waiting for me in the future, so there's no point in talking about the past now.
That is a good motto. Can I ask, how does it feel to be on the same card as him? Would you have rather not be on the same card as him?
Каково быть в одном карде с ним сейчас? Не хотел ли ты быть, может быть, с ним в одном карде?
Мне без разницы. Наоборот, я считаю, что то, что они будут драться за пояс, и также я буду драться в этом поединке. И вообще, я думаю, что наш бой с Шоном Омели, он гораздо глобальнее, интереснее и более, так скажем, нашумевший, чем бой Стерлинга с Зелашовым.
I don't really care about that, actually it's even better to be on the same card with him. And I believe our fight with Sean even bigger than a title fight itself. It even, it's more hype and more noise about our fight than about his fight.
I saw a video of you guys talking to each other. Can I ask, what was said in the video? It's kind of hard to tell, to figure out what was being said there, but it was you and Aljo speaking. Merab was there. What happened in that exchange?
Что было, когда вы встретились, о чем говорили?
Я проходил мимо, увидел, стоят Алджо с командой, подошли. Когда я позвал его, он повернулся растерянный. Вот, я просто поздоровался с ним, а Мераб, он стоял сзади, молчал.
Yeah, I was just walking by and I saw them with his team, and I just called him to say hi. And when Aljo turned over, he was looked a little bit surprised, and I talked to him a little bit. But Merab was just standing there the whole time, not saying anything.
So no more beef?
Мераб говорит тогда, когда есть камера, и он это знает.
Merab only talks when there's camera or when they know they're filming.
Oh, okay. So it sounds maybe a little beef. I thought maybe the beef is no more, but there's still some tension.
Все равно есть какие-то разногласия, да, еще с командой.
Да особых разногласий нету. Просто тут вопрос ситуации, настроения, да.
There's not much beef going on. It depends on the situation, depends on the mood.
Okay. Is Merab a fight that you would like one day?
Бой с Мерабом. Хотел бы ты.
Пока не вижу я его на вершине.
Right now, I don't see him as a top contender.
Really? Even after the Aldo win?
Даже после победы над Алдо.
Ну вы же видели этот бой.
You saw that fight, Ariel.
Yes. You didn't like it?
После этого боя Алдо ушел на пенсию.
After that fight, Aldo retired.
Yeah. Because of Marab, maybe.
Из-за Мираба, думаешь?
Тебя
Because of himself, you know.
Fair. All right. Okay, so that doesn't interest you. Do you think, is there a chance, or maybe if TJ wins, like, do you think you win on Saturday, you get another title shot? Is this what you're hoping? Have you been told this? Maybe if it's TJ who wins, maybe a third fight with Sterling. What do you think you're fighting for here?
Считаешь ли ты, что победа тебе даст возможность подраться за титул следующий?
Yes. Да, я думаю так. И я считаю, что это будет справедливо.
Yes, I think the win next Saturday should guarantee me the next title shot. I believe it's going to be just fair.
И также это большой очень бой. Если победит Дилашоу, это тоже будет очень интересный большой бой для всех любителей смешанных единоборств.
Yeah, and if TJ is going to win, it's going to be a very big fight for all the MMA fans.
Также, если выиграет Стерлинг, это будет трилогия.
And if Sterling wins, it's going to be a trilogy.
Who do you think wins?
Как ты думаешь, кто победит?
Честно, не знаю. 50 на 50, в зависимости от того, кто кому навяжет свой поединок.
To be honest, I don't know. It's a 50-50 fight. Depends who gonna dictate, you know, where the fight will go.
Who do you want to win?
Кто бы ты хотел, чтобы выиграл?
For me, my goal only title fight. Yes. Who will champion Sterling? TJ Dillashaw. I don't care. Yes. I wanna smash him.
I like it. And by the way, regarding your fight against Sean, how do you think it plays out? Do you think it's 15 minutes? Do you think you stop him early? What are you envisioning?
Как ты думаешь, пройдет твой шаг? Все 15 минут, досрочно, что ты представляешь?
Я думаю, что бой закончится досрочно.
I believe it's going to be finished.
Finish early, late?
Рано, поздно.
По ситуации.
Depends on situation.
What do you think of this guy? He's got crazy hair, the colors, all the flash. You appreciate his style, or not? You're not really a fan of this?
Что ты думаешь вообще о нем? У него сумасшедший стиль, тебе он нравится или нет?
Я смотрю, в принципе, на него с точки зрения, там, так скажем, бизнеса, да, он себя популяризирует как определенный персонаж, и почему нет, если это ему нравится, как бы вот.
Yeah, I'm looking at him from the business standpoint, you know. He made this character of himself, tried to popularize himself. He's doing a good job, so yeah, why not?
Я не особо акцентирую внимание на его внешности. В принципе, да, мы так говорим, хайпуем там, но мне вообще без разницы на его внешность.
To be honest, I don't pay attention about his looks and stuff like this. Yes, we talk about that, but to be honest, I don't care about that.
Если бы он был моим другом, конечно же, я бы сказал ему, тебе нужно побриться, либо покраситься в нормальный цвет.
Of course, if he would have been my friend, I would have told him, you know, you need to shave or this hair or change the color of your hair.
You don't listen to his podcast? You don't watch his podcast? You're not a fan?
Слушал ли ты его подкасты?
Нет, don't.
And do you like fighting in UAE more than in America? Is it better? I see you're on jet skis. It seems like you have a nice situation over there in Dubai, Abu Dhabi. They treat you very well. Do you prefer these fights on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi as opposed to when you have to come here to America?
Больше тебе нравится драться здесь, на Yas Island, чем в Америке?
Мне нравится здесь больше драться, потому что здесь есть ребята, у которых нет там визы, и есть мои друзья, да. В Америку я полетел, опять же, никому моему головым не дали визы. Это тоже такой неприятный момент.
Yeah, I like to fight here because no one have any problem getting visa to come here. You know, in the USA, you know, my team didn't get the visas. You know, it also was unpleasant situation.
Right. So you have your whole team there, the whole corner is there, no problems?
команда здесь.
Yes, yes, no problem. Everything good.
Okay. Well, good luck, Pyotr. Thank you so much. Spasiba. I appreciate it. Can't wait for the fight. It's an amazing matchup, and everyone's very much looking forward to it. And thank you, as always, for the time.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Sayat, as well. Appreciate it. There he is, the great Pyotr Yan. How about that? Wow. I like Pyotr. He has the subtle shade sometimes, right? He says, oh,
A little bit.
Merab only is tough in front of the cameras. Ooh. I like it. I like it. Gosh, I can't wait for that fight. Low key, might be my most anticipated fight of the night. Is that weird?
Not at all.
What's your most anticipated fight of the night, Frank?
TJ.
TJ Aljo, huh? Wow.
I'm the only one out of all three of us that says Islam Charles.
Well, what does New York Rick say?
He said Aljo TJ as well, I believe.
Wow. See that? No. I mean, Islam Charles, obviously, big prize, top title fight. If I had to rank them, Islam Charles, I do think you can make a case for Jan O'Malley, especially as the week goes on, the face-off. I think it's going to be hyped. I think it's going to be intense. I think that one might leapfrog over Aljo Dillashaw's most anticipated or second most anticipated.
Last three, I'm on pins and needles for all of them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be...
Last four. Benio's a big-time fight.
Yeah. Last 7 fights, honestly, are incredible. Like, the whole card is just stacked.
Wait, what's number 7?
Baralho.
You're big on that one? I thought Volkan Ozdemir.
Yeah, Volkan Ozdemir is another one. Nikita Krylov.
I'm curious to see how Mokaev looks.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that one, too. I mean...
Fighting the pride of Canada, of course, Malcolm X. Gordon.
10 a.m. Eastern on, I'm going to be locked in.
Is that when it starts?
Yeah.
That's early.
Or is it 11? Am I mistaken?
Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
Early.
4 hours before. Wow, 10 a.m. I'm going to have to do the whole, watch it soccer thing.
Oh, yikes. Yikes.
It's
Yeah,
all
you
good.
were doing some degen sweating out of
big time.
Michaela Mayer at the soccer.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, this guy's really betting on these fights.
No, I was off to the side. People were like, what are you doing? Actually, one guy recognized me and was talking to me in the middle of the thing.
Oh, man.
And I was like, hey, bud, I love talking.
Hey, man, I got money on Michaela Mayer. Could you
it's
please?
like, it's getting a little tense over there in the UK right now. I can't wait. What an intensity that man has. And I'm curious to see how he rebounds. He didn't really want to entertain the Chito Vera talk, although I kind of feel like Chito versus Jan could be a fight that happens next.
I'm down for that. That would be a fantastic fight if he wins. Maybe even if he loses.
By the way, Merab versus Jan. Merab versus Jan. Sweet rivalry there. He said it wasn't a very exciting fight. I don't know if that was necessarily Merab's fault, if I'm being honest, but there's so many different permutations at 135 right now. I mean, look at these options they've got. Obviously, Aljo, current champ. Jan 1. TJ 2. Merab 3. Corey, don't forget about him. Marlon. Font's still in the mix. We'll see what happens with Cruz. Jonathan Martinez calling him out. Pedro Munoz, who kind of has like been forgotten now after that, kind of a crappy situation for him. He gets poked and is not on a big fight. Don't forget about our guy Ricky Simone, right? Umar's coming up. Adrian Yanez in the mix. And don't forget about our guy Jack Shore. Not ready to give up on him either.
Stacked.
Best division in the UFC. Deepest division. Lightweight, pretty damn close. Although the difference, as I've said before, a lot of the top guys at lightweight have already had a crack at the belt. A lot of the top guys at 135 haven't, and that's what makes it interesting. But there's names. The bigger names are probably at lightweight. Charles, Dustin, Gaethje, Makhachev, Chandler, Dariush, Fiziev. I hope we get Fiziev and Gaethje. That'd be fun. RDA, Gamrot, Sarukian, Conor McGregor, Jalen Turner, Tony Ferguson, all the way down to 15. It's UFC. Just a lot to like. A lot to like. A lot going on. Of course, the next pay-per-view after this one is UFC 280 1. That's the one in New York City. Can't wait for that. Madison Square Garden. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. It's a tricky one. BB told me about it. He's like, it's like, I say Pereira, he says Pereira, but I've always been taught with the Portuguese, you don't pronounce the R. But then what about 282, guys? December 10th, the last UFC pay-per-view of the year. And we found out it's going to be Yuri Prochazka against Glover Teixeira 2. What a fight it was back in June. Jan Blachowicz against Magomed Ankalaev. That's a big-time light heavyweight fight. Massive light heavyweight fight. Darren Till against Dricus du Plessis.
That's gonna be a good one.
What are the odds on that fight actually happening, GC? Why do I feel like that fight's not happening?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't.
Dricus du Plessis with a big opportunity against Darren Till. Jairzinho Rozenstruik against Chris Daukaus. Alexander Gustafsson back for more against OSP. Santiago Ponzinibbio against Robbie Lawler. I mean, you talk about deep. We're talking deep here. Edmund Shabazian against Lagumbala. Our guy Billy Q against Alex Hernandez, still in the mix. Chris Curtis against Joaquin Buckley. This card is actually deeper than 280. You know what I'm talking about? Like the prelims, the early prelims. This fight here, there, yeah, all good. Not that great. Top of the card is fantastic. 282. Oh, by the way, Bo Nickel on the card. Have you heard of him? Against Jamie Pickett. Although when he was on last week or 2 weeks ago, he was like, hold the phone on that one. I don't know.
Tapology's got Bo early on the prelims.
Yeah, second fight. But they also have main event Yuri and Glover, and that isn't 100% just yet. I'll tell you more about that after Yuri joins us. Wow. Let's see. I just got a text from Anthony Smith. I think he might have heard my comment. Listen, he asked me if I wanted to bet on the Bills-Chiefs game. I said I don't bet. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear a good game afterwards. If you say to someone you want to bet on the game, means you're actually kind of confident going into the game. Am I wrong? If you approach someone and say, hey, you want to wager? You want to lay a little $5, $10, $20? That means I'm not the one reaching out, right? So if you reach out to me about the bet before a game, actually it was after the fumble, that means you're confident. Feels like afterwards you should say, hey, good game, bro. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, without further ado, let us speak to the reigning, defending UFC light heavyweight champion, the pride of the Czech Republic, the birthday boy. Just celebrated his birthday on Friday. It's all coming up. Yuri Prochazka. We're going to see him on December 10th in Las Vegas. The brand new 30-year-old, the one and only Yuri Prochazka joining us. Hello, Yuri. How are you? Happy birthday, my friend.
Hi. Hey, great. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
It's wonderful to speak to you again. How was your birthday, by the way? How are the celebrations?
The birthday party was amazing. Now I'm 30, so it was a big party, but without alcohol.
Yes.
Now because preparation, so it was big. It was amazing.
I saw a picture. There was some fire involved or something. There was like flames. What was that all about? I saw a picture that you posted.
Yeah. My friends, they bought me some firework and fire show, and I stole that gun with the fire, and
oh my gosh,
I tried to fire a little bit.
Yeah, it looked intense. We're looking at the picture right now, but it seemed like quite the party. And now that's out of the way, and you could prepare for the fight against Glover Teixeira. So we last spoke to you right after you won the title and you beat Glover, and there was some talk, Jan, Glover. Yeah. Ultimately, it ended up being Glover. Are you happy with this decision that it's a rematch against Glover for your first defense?
finally in this time, I'm glad for this what I decide for that, and I think I just want to show my best performance. And in the first fight, that was my one of the worst performance all of my fight. Like, I'm saying that from I mean that my attitude to the fight. I know I can do that better, and like I said, Glover deserved the rematch because this fight was 50-50. So I just accept the challenge because there was many voices who called me for the rematch.
My understanding, Yuri, was that they wanted the fight to happen in Brazil in January, and you said, "I'm the champion. Why am I going to Brazil? Yeah, I want to fight in December. I want to fight one more time this year. We're going to fight on my terms. I'm the king here." Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened, and that's the second reason to take it from the strategy, like a strategy point to fight in Vegas. And the first reason was just, and it's still, I want to fight as soon as possible. So that's December, and I'm looking forward for that.
And did you feel like bothered by the fact as champion that they wanted you to go to Brazil to fight the challenger in his home country? Like, did that upset you?
Yeah, it's good, like a good challenge, but I don't need this type of challenge. I want to just fight as soon as possible. And December is a good date. It's a 10th of December, so it's still this year. And I wanna now, and like I'm the champion right now. I wanna fight often, more often.
Active, yeah. When you fight in December, how's the hair gonna look? Are we gonna have the ponytail? What are we planning on?
Ponytail will not be because it's not so long. So I have a plan for that. So wait for that.
Okay, can you tell what is it going to be? Because we're so used to you fighting with that. Is it going to be like maybe a modified one, a small one? What are you thinking?
No. I just want to say that all my hair, like war hair, every time is like the simple and the reason of my hair is simple. It's every time like